Morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan. Spring has officially sprung, and it is the first day of spring today. It's great to turn the calendar from our dreadful winter, of 66 degrees every day. It just feels so good knowing that spring is finally here in America's finest city. I'm Woodsy. Let's get our heads right today on a Tuesday. Ben made the comment when he walked in, man, it's our last show of the offseason. And I said, well, I beg to differ. It's going to be a weird one the next week or so as we fight through this weird start to the season. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer, imaging director. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
Energy is good this morning. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. I wish today was like officially the day before opening day. But we have a weird... It is, and then it's not for a while. And then we have to be like, hey, did you guys see the exhibition game against the Mariners? How great did Waldron look? You know what I mean? Like, nobody cares about those.
There's a lot of ways you can look at this. I prefer to think of this as the start of our 21-hour pregame show.
That's fair enough.
For the first game of the season at 3 a.m. here on 97.3 The Fan. Watch party coming up at 7 Mile Casino. Looking forward to it. You just made the point, though. Today is the start of spring. So that means all of spring training took place in winter.
Yeah,
they didn't even have a day of spring training
not one.
In spring.
Not one. Other teams are still in spring training. Padres did winter training this year, trying to get a jump on the competition. I think it's a good idea. It was so weird. I've got so much. It's not anxiety. It's not stress at all. It's just so many thoughts about the week to come, right? And everything on the plate. I'm having a hard time keeping it organized in my brain, so I'm thinking about it a lot. I woke up this morning, the alarm went off. I slept right to that bad boy, too, which is such a good feeling. You wait, beep, 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 and you're like, oh, wow, 4:15 already or whatever. And I go, it's cool. It's Saturday. Buddy, it's Tuesday. I think what had happened was I've been playing the calendar out in my head so much of all the things I have to do that I completed the tasks in my head. So I woke up and I went, all right, time to enjoy the weekend.
I totally get you wake up and you think it's
Wednesday,
Friday and you
right.
realize, it's only Thursday. I mean, I get that one 100%. It's been a long week. You can't possibly imagine that it's only Thursday. You think it's Friday. I get that. To wake up on Tuesday and think it's Saturday is quite bizarre.
Well, you get we did internal monologue bit last week. I'm telling you, in my mind, it has been, okay, pick up the kids from school. I've got a dermatologist appointment today. I got to get one of these horns cut off my back, a cyst. My wife is really the one that is encouraging me to do it.
We had oral surgery Friday.
Yeah, dermatologist on Thursday.
Get a horn removed
horn taken off today. You'd think I'm about to enter some fitness competition.
What's happening on Thursday?
Right,
this week?
Exactly. So it's one of those men, maybe women too, I don't know. But we get these weird, they're like cysts almost on our bodies. Are you getting skin tags and cysts yet? Oh, just wait. It comes in your 40s. It's super cool. And when you take your shirt off, it's super hot. And your wife goes, ooh, is that a new cyst on your back?
What's this concept of taking your shirt off that you're speaking of?
That's fair. Well, she'll catch me coming out of the shower and go, God, what is that? Is that a new one? And I'm like, what? It's repugnant. So I'm going to...
This is what happens when you take a younger wife.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But she's like, you need to get that taken off. And I think it's I think it's the clear path back, And so I said, all right, I'll do it. So I'm going to do that today. So my brain, though, Benny, has been working get the kids from school, get your horn cut off, get down to 7 Mile Casino, have dinner with Adam and Paulie and maybe Ben, depending on his schedule, go to sleep, watch party, get up early, do the show, try to get a nap, get the kids. Kids are out early. My brain, I have played through my week 100 times already.
The monologue is strong.
So when I woke up this morning, I was like, man, that kicked ass. Let's kick back and enjoy a nice Saturday. It lasted all of 3 seconds before I realized, oh no, it is Tuesday indeed. But certainly great to be here with you guys. And just the response that we've been getting for the watch party and really for everything has just been through the roof. I cannot believe the amount of people that have confirmed, no, I'm going to be there. And I'm like, you say that now, bro. When that alarm goes off at 2 a.m., you're going to go, I love them, but I can't do it. It's early. It is early. So if you don't come, I'm not going to be personally offended. It's really, really early, so I don't blame you.
But you're going to get FOMO if you don't go. This is the dilemma. It's going to be hard. It's going to wreck the rest of your day, almost certainly. It's having lived the early morning lifestyle for a long time, and you know me, late at night as well. To get up that early, you're not going to be able to really recover. And if you do end up like getting to work later on Wednesday, tomorrow, I don't know that you're going to, like, it's going to hit you on Thursday then. Yeah. There's going to be consequences to watching the Padres game tomorrow.
Megan in the chat wants to see the horn. Can you pull this down and show everyone?
Oh, hang on.
The latest.
It's just a little bump right here. It's very there you go. Okay,
right here.
You can just sort of see a rise. There's no discoloration. Mine's much bigger. Why don't you show everybody?
I can't. I'll throw up. I can't look at it.
I'll throw up.
I cannot look at that
I'll
thing.
do it.
Paulie will do it.
I'll gladly do it.
You barely have to pull anything down on the
Well,
back.
yours got so big.
I don't think even.
Oh my God! He's like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's it right there.
Wow.
You can't get that thing taken off either.
No, Doc, I've had it for 20 plus years, and doctors said it's not in a good spot. It's too close to the spine to remove. It's not dangerous. I
think it's worth it.
But they said leave it there. So
Hannah just said, way to hard sell the watch party, guys. Yeah, come to 7 Mile Casino. I'll let you see my horns. Ben will show you his hump on his back. It's super cool.
And
we walk in like
dragging your feet.
And you're going to suffer for the rest of the week because you got up so early.
Yeah, maybe we can do Pop Ben's cyst. For a chance at a Manny Machado bobblehead or something.
But my point was, if you don't go, though, I think you're going to regret it. Just
There's
because
no question.
You're going to have a ton of FOMO. It's going to be an experience. What are the chances that the Padres open the season in Korea at 3 a.m. ever again in your lifetime? Kind of the one time it's worth getting up and maybe wrecking your sleep schedule for a couple of days because you're not going to get this experience again. So ultimately, my point is, despite the consequences, I think it's going to be very cool, and I'm very excited about it. And we'll all just suffer together for a couple of days and getting our body clocks oriented back to where they should be.
So Jonathan wants to know in the chat. I like the chat. It's a nice little Q&A where you can ask us questions in real time, and we'll answer them. Jonathan says, team, for the watch party, will they be serving beer outside of regular serving hours? No, they will not. I don't know what time they start serving beer.
I think 9 a.m.
Okay, so
yeah, maybe by the end of our show, I think.
We'll still be there. So, yeah, I mean, look, if you're showing up to the game at 3 o'clock in the morning and you want a beer, I'm sorry. There's rules against that. So,
if you want Kung Pao chicken, though, you're good to go.
You are good to go. You are absolutely good to go.
Megan wants she wants a crack at. It's not Dr. Pimple Popper here. It's not filled with pus or anything.
That would be quite a radio promotion.
It's very firm and fibrous, and it's not going anywhere.
Firm and fibrous.
Bro, and I tell you, this woman of mine, anytime I get a zit or any sort of, she goes into like Dr. Pimple Popper mode.
Yeah.
She's like, let me at it, let me see it. And it like, the deep
Hannah
ones that hurt.
Kills me.
I'm like,
stop, God, stop, mother. Ow! Yeah, it's terrible.
Have either of you watched that actual show? Dr. Pimple Popper?
I wouldn't watch that if you gave me $1
million.
$1,000,000.
I know it's on. I'm aware of what it is, and I've probably walked in and seen it on TV and changed the channel immediately.
You want to get me to vomit? That's how you do it.
Who watches that show? It's essentially like doctors who remove skin things that are really infected and gross, and they take them off, and that's the show, correct? Am I missing the concept?
That's it, dog. I have no interest.
And it must do well because it's been on for many years. So it must do well
gross.
Enough, and I don't get it.
Look, I will be the first to tell you, if I have a zit and I pop it, I'm very satisfied. But it's mine. I did it to myself. I'm also not putting it on camera. You guys want to watch me take a dump too? Like, what's next? Like, all right, come on in. This will be a good one. Like, how far have we fallen?
Dr. Doo-Doo taker.
Dr. Doo-Doo, Dr. Pooper. Like, we're not doing this. That feels like it's an intimate thing. But yours, they can't even cut off because they'd nick your spine or something.
Yeah.
So you're right. It's not worth it. There's no like cover up you can put
Not
on
really.
it.
Not really. I mean, if I wear a collar, high
hoodie,
enough, no one can see it.
You could work your traps up bigger, and then it would just look like it was part of your traps. Because you have big calves, you could work that up. But so anyway, I am excited to see you guys. We have a lot of people in the chat saying that they're coming. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun and weird walking over there at 2:45, tomorrow morning going, oh my God, this is actually happening. And of course you want to see a good game. That's really, I think, what we're all looking forward to. And, the challenge of the season starts then. But like I was saying, the weird part is like, so we have tomorrow, we're like, hell yeah, this is like opening day number one.
Oh, the adrenaline will carry us.
No doubt. And then 2 games that count, then 2 games that don't. Then we're going to re-up this thing and get it going next week, which we have a huge announcement about coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. We'll let you guys know all the details of our opening day broadcast. So we get to do it all again. I'm looking at it as more of a positive. We actually get to do 2 opening days. It's going to be pretty cool.
The real challenge may be getting up to watch the second game because we're not doing a watch party. We're not doing it. Don't ask.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
We're not going so quit asking.
Thursday morning?
We just stay
morning.
there.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Hey, if you wanted to, we could probably keep you guys there.
I'm planning on setting the alarm and getting up at home so I can watch the game before we come in and do the show, but that's going to be the real challenge to try it 2 days in a row, I think. First day, the adrenaline will carry us through the watch party tomorrow. Day 2 is going to be even tougher.
Dave wants to know, should we wear name badges with our names on it? I actually have some leftover name badges I will bring, and you can sign up, put your name on it, Tier 1 Dave. I'd love that. It makes my life easier, because usually people just introduce themselves to me by their Twitter handle. Hey, what's up, Woodsy? It's Butthole69 on Twitter. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you, dude. How are you? And I just be like, hey, I'm Mike Smith or whatever. Be nice to see your real name for once.
Show host Ben, show host Woods.
Yeah, exactly. So imaging director Paul, and we can put that on our. You guys will know who we are. You'll see us there running around, but really excited to get it going. It's going to be big.
Speaking of getting it going, it is time to get this show going on a Tuesday. We'll take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll set the menu. Guests, perhaps even some from Asia today on the program. We'll let you know what's coming up in the next 4 hours on Ben and Woods. Do not go anywhere. Kelly Danick standing by with our first check of traffic on Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, hopefully 24 hours from now, Sam Levitt will be recapping a season-opening victory for your San Diego Padres right now.
Yeah, a 2-1 win.
As we wait for our show to begin at 7 Mile Casino. Remember, you tune in tomorrow morning, you're getting up. If you don't arrive early, if you don't listen to the whole game, we'll be on some point a little bit late after the postgame show of Sam Levitt, and we'll go until 10 o'clock this morning. It's funny, though. We were just talking about the FOMO of missing out on our watch party. I now have big dose of FOMO after something I just saw on the internet. I'm looking at a picture of dinner in Korea tonight. Looks like a Korean barbecue establishment, and it's a table, and I see Eric Grupner posted the picture, CEO of the Padres. I see Don Orsillo. I see Tom Seidler, Trevor Hoffman at the table. I think that's Chan-Ho Park. If you look in the background at another table, there's definitely Mud Grant. I see his bald head back there. And then I see Eric Kutsenda, I believe, at a table to the left. He's not really focused into the picture, but he's turned the other way. So
Kyle Mooney is in there.
There's definitely a big Padres contingent, maybe a restaurant takeover, it looks like, for the San Diego Padres traveling party for dinner the night before the season here.
So you have FOMO from what?
Just looks like it'd be a cool dinner to be at.
You're a sweet kid to think that you would have even been a thought to invite
be
to
invited
that dinner.
if I was there. Oh, well.
This actually
you can be FOMO of things that there's no chance you're invited to
look,
as well.
If I see a table full of supermodels having dinner, I don't think to myself,
FOMO.
Man, I got FOMO. Like,
I should be there.
I should be there. Chances are I was never going to be invited, and let's be honest, chances are you were never going to be invited to this dinner. You know what would have been worse? Had you gone to Seoul like you planned, and you're sitting in your hotel, and then you look at Twitter and you go, oh, everyone's out to dinner without me. That's, if you're here, you can go, oh, I totally would have gone, but.
If I was there, I'd probably be working. I'd be standing outside with a camera waiting to interview people.
Yeah, 100%.
As they come out.
But, you would not have been on that dinner invite list. I would not have been on that dinner invite list. Paulie would not have been on that dinner invite list. It's just the way that it is. I'm sorry to have to break that news to you, but you were never going to be invited anyway, so it doesn't matter if you feel like you're missing out. They were not going to invite us.
Well, thank you for that dose of confidence this morning, Woods.
It's a reality. I just want to keep it real.
Is it because of the thing on my back that we
Probably,
just saw?
That doesn't
why
help.
I don't get invited
that
to
does not help.
Mud actually said, I can't eat with him, so if you want to bring him, you have to put him at his own table.
Too repulsive.
And turn him so his back's to the wall, so nobody has to see that. No, I don't think it has anything to do with the horn. I just think, that's the different echelon than the lowly old radio guys are in, buddy.
All right, let's set the menu.
Dave McCary and Kyle Mooney are there. Like, it's a big table. It's a big, big table.
Hey, let's set the menu for what we've got coming up today, and I think we start with a discussion of Blake Snell, who signed last night, or at least agreed to a 2-year contract with the San Francisco Giants worth $62 million. A far cry of what, at least reportedly, he was asking for at the beginning of the offseason. Those talks were somewhere in the $200 million 9-year range. To settle for 2 years, $62 million with an opt-out after the first year. There's got to be some head-scratching going on, some second thoughts in the Snell and Boris camp. But the Giants do get better with that move, and we'll discuss all of the implications of Blake Snell finally leaving the free agent market and joining a team coming up later this hour.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate to see him go to a division rival, if we're allowed to call them rivals. We do play in the same division. There's a lot I hate about it. There's a lot that, I that's a lot of dough for him, but it's also, the high AAV, which is what they were looking for, but this is no sort of security for Blake Snell. I mean, he's still kind of operating under a mercenary type situation after winning his second Cy Young. That's got to be a weird thing to reconcile. And I'm sure there's part of it he understands, but man, they did a graphic yesterday about the offseason for one Scott Boras and what he was shooting for and what he actually got. And it's pretty staggering. It is pretty staggering to see. And I got a text from a buddy last night that said, do you think there's internal discussions going on with some Boris clients going, I don't want this guy to take me to free agency after this debacle? And I think that's a fair question to ask.
I think there's a lot of different nuances and angles to the Snell story, and I'm excited to dive in here.
Yeah.
I think we'll do that at the bottom of the hour. A little programming note, if you've been following our tournament of drops, we've been advancing each round every morning around 7:35, 7:40. We're going to hit it a little early today because we have a guest at 7:35. So tune in for our tournament of drops as we get the final four results of the Sweet 16. We'll have the entire Elite Eight set by this morning and give you the first matchups to determine, or actually all of the matchups to determine our final four today in our tournament of drops. Our favorite sound bites over the last year. We've gone from 32, we'll get down to 8, and then tomorrow we'll be down to the final 4 in our tournament of drops. Take on Woods and Don't Do This in their usual spots. And then at 7:35, been wanting to get a little more insight into what's been going on in South Korea. And not necessarily with the nuts and bolts of the Padres, but we're going to get a little bit more of a flavor of the trip. And a guy who I've known for quite a while, he actually worked in the Chargers public relations department for just like a year or two when they were here in San Diego many, many years ago. And now he is a YouTube star. He has the host of his own channel, the Jaycation channel, with many, many subscribers.
What a
and he's
gig.
been traveling the world, putting up these videos, doing it himself. It's very cool. And he is currently in Seoul, South Korea. He's fully accredited and following everything that's going on with the Seoul series with the Padres and the Dodgers. And we're going to check in with him to get a little bit more of a flavor of the South Korea trip and the Seoul series and everything that's been going on. So JJ Manicky is going to join us coming up at 7:35 this morning.
Now, his name's JJ. He doesn't go by Jaycation.
Jaycation is his YouTube
That's his show.
alter ego. That's
Okay.
his channel, if you
That's
want
his
to
channel.
follow him.
All
Yeah.
right.
And he's got a ton of like Vegas, and he's been in the Asia for a while, some Philippines trip. If you are going internationally, want some. Yeah, I saw one. I was looking at it yesterday. It was top 15 tourist traps to avoid in San Diego, which I thought was
let's
really.
dive. I want to dive
I
into
thought that was really cool. Like, okay, what do people like come here to do? And like go see the border was one of them. It's like people actually like come to San Diego and spend time driving down to see the border.
I can kind of understand.
to do what? But why?
Because they live in Iowa.
I know, but it's trafficy. It's just a fence. You get down there. I would think it's incredibly disappointing. And you go like, we wasted 4 hours of our vacation going down to see that. I don't know. Just that.
I think again, if you live in the Midwest and you hear about it, and you hear about it a lot, you're like, oh, see what this thing looks like. I'll say, it is kind of cool.
All
When
right.
you see it, you're like,
Maybe you disagree
whoa,
then.
Whoa, it is kind of.
When we're driving out to spring training.
Me and Paulie were like, ooh, which
No,
one? Wait,
Ben-
you pointed
Ben
it
pointed
out.
it
Yeah,
out.
I did. Well, we were just driving by and you could see a fence out there. But ultimately, if you don't, there's a lot of fences in the world. This one just happens to divide one country from another.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes it more interesting to some people. But we will talk South Korea in our 7:30 segment with Jaycation, YouTube star. Second half of the show, our Tier 1 tour comes to a conclusion today. The final team of the 29 we have covered. It will be tomorrow's opponent, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and what they've done in the offseason. We'll talk more about the Giants and their moves. Two teams in the NL West spending about $1.9 billion
Yeah, about
this
1.5
offseason
I
on
think,
free agency.
Yeah, 1.4, somewhere around there.
Somewhere right around $1.5 billion between the two teams, while the Padres have shaved payroll by almost $100 million.
And we spent tens and twenties of dollars. Let's not sell ourselves
Fair
short.
enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So we'll talk about that. Reindl Report in our
Hundreds
9
of
o'clock.
dollars.
We've got more tickets to give away to comedian Jim Norton. Had our first pair yesterday. He's coming to the Belly Up. Give those away later in the show, and that should really set the menu for what we've got coming up today.
Great job. Looking forward to the
All right,
specials.
let's talk Blake Snell when we come back, and everything that this signing changes the NL West. It kind of changes the free agent market. There's a lot of things that kind of are implied by Blake Snell's decision yesterday. So that is first up with Ben and Woods when we return on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Got a tweet during the break from Tier 1 Jordan in North Carolina who says, yeah, Ben Higgins is a hater and says it was worth it. I've never been out of the country, let alone on an international border, so I thought this was very cool to do 2 years ago.
Did it?
Picture of him right in front of the Mexico border, of course. So.
Of course, sweet little angelic Jordan.
With all the barbed wire, I'm going, yeah, barbed wire is essential to any great vacation,
He's like,
Jordan.
babe, get me trying to scale, get over it, or dig under it. It's the second time I actually brought up Jordan off the air this morning. I was, yesterday, Benny, I don't know, I had my bracket open, talking about the NCAA, March Madness bracket. I had it open, and I was looking around. I put on some college analysts, analysts talking about the matchups and stuff, and I thought about Jordan immediately. He lives in North Carolina. He's a huge Tar Heel fan. And they said, yeah, out of all the one seeds, North Carolina is probably the weakest. And I thought he's going to go on a rampage when he hears that. And I said, I have to make sure to bring that up tomorrow just to make him mad.
I mean, I think it was a good call to make North Carolina the last one seed, but the other three were very obvious.
Yeah.
UConn, Purdue, and Houston separated themselves a little bit from everybody else. I don't think it's a knock on North Carolina. It's more of they were by far the best 2 seed, so they made them a 1 seed.
Yeah.
I would look at it as a compliment, not necessarily an insult, because they aren't as good as the other 1 seeds. Everyone knows who the best 3 teams in the country were all season long. Now, this is the NCAA tournament, so last year you didn't have any of the best teams making it to the end. UConn was not a 1 seed last year by any stretch of the imagination.
And even knowing all that, even knowing, the madness that March entails, you still look at your bracket and start to fill it out, and you go, oh, God, I've got 4 1 seeds there. And at the end, it's just really hard. That's why you can offer $5 billion. Hey, $5 billion to anyone that picks a perfect bracket. It's never going to happen in our lifetime.
No chance.
It's literally impossible.
Usually, most brackets,
I'm filling out the brackets for getting ready to do the tournament of drops here in a few minutes. Yeah. And, even that, I'm like, I don't know, man.
You think you do.
You do.
And then Juan Soto, good morning.
These are some tough matchups.
It's very, very difficult.
Either Delilah versus Secure their load of gravel. Come on.
It's
That's
almost
hard.
impossible.
Yeah. Today you have 2 games, first 2 play-in games of the NCAA tournament this afternoon. Wagner versus Howard, a 16-16 matchup. And then tonight, Colorado State from the Mountain West taking on Virginia, both 10 seeds in the play-in game.
I don't like these play-in games because you don't even have to pick them.
You don't.
It's stupid.
You can wait until after they've been played, and then you can kind of make your choices. I do think, first of all, you have to find True TV, again, on your cable lineup, which is always a challenge this time of year.
That's why the Cox voice remote. True TV. And it pops
College basketball.
It's so good.
Now, not every Mountain West team is probably going to win their first game, but I do think seeing how Colorado State fares against a major program in Virginia, one with some success, obviously. They lost as a 1 seed, then came back and won it all. I do think it'll tell, was the Mountain West overrated, underrated? Where were they really compared to other conferences? If Colorado State gets their doors blown off, or if Colorado State wins impressively, it'll say something to me about the chances of the other 5 Mountain West teams in the tournament going forward. Does that seem fair? Colorado State was solidly in with everybody else in the Mountain West this year. So if they don't look good, that'll be a bad sign. If they look very good, then it'll probably be a good sign for the Mountain West. Now, maybe they'll just be hot tonight or just be cold, and you can't take everything from just one matchup. But I will be watching that one with some keen interest this evening just to see how they do. That's the second game around 6:30, I believe, our time.
Yeah,
6,
you need
6:30.
to be asleep at that time. We have to get up really early
I will still be at work at that time.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, there's no chance I'm going to miss that. All right, we'll get into some Blake Snell discussion of his signing right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive-thru oil change. Got a few trouble spots here. One of them is an accident involving a motorcycle northbound 125 at Olympic Parkway. It's over to the right shoulder in the North County, southbound 15, just past the 78. Collision involving a couple cars. They're in the center divide. And got a stalled car on the Los Postos off-ramp, eastbound 78. It's over to the right shoulder. Valvoline Instant Oil Change is your drive-through oil change. It only takes 15 minutes, and you don't have to get out of your car. With all the rain lately, Valvoline is also offering replacement wiper blades. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, can we all agree that no matter how Scott Boras spins this today, that this outcome, the Blake Snell going to the Giants on a 2-year deal worth $62 million with an opt-out after the first season, is not how they wanted the offseason to go. This was not the intended route they were going to take. They were looking for a long-term deal. When that didn't materialize, they were looking for a 3-year deal with multiple opt-outs like Matt Chapman got with the Giants a few weeks ago for a little bit less money, and they ended up settling for what really was, it's $31 million, so that's good money. But essentially another prove-it 1-year deal for Blake Snell, who just won the National League Cy Young Award. It's almost stunning compared to, like, say, a Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who got 10 years and over $300 million. And I get it, he's 6 years younger than Blake.
Is he also a Boras guy?
He was not a Boras guy.
He's not a Boras guy.
But the fact that he signed for this after waiting all offseason is very interesting to me.
What does it tell you about... So I guess in Blake Snell, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, and he hasn't really talked about it yet, but for him, the high average annual value was important, right? Instead of a longer-term deal. There'd been rumors of the Yankees.
Now that's what was important. Earlier, he wanted the longer-term deal.
The longer-term deal. He didn't get the dollar value
he's like,
per
all right,
year.
well, if I'm only going to be here for 2 or 3 years, I want 30 minimum a year.
Well, he's not going to be there for 2 or 3 years. At the most he can be there is 2, and he can opt out after 1. Now, I did see somebody in our chat last week trying to disparage his Cy Young by saying, well, of course he pitched his ass off. He's in a walk year. Well, if that's the case, he's in a walk year again. With an opt-out at the end of the year, if he pitches well, he can absolutely say, let's do this again. Let's run this back.
He can, but why would he get any more than he got this year? Is he going to
more years?
Why
would he get more years?
If teams were unwilling to do it now, he'll be a year older.
Do they need more?
Even if he wins a Cy Young Award again, he can't pitch much better than he did last year. In fact, I would almost guarantee, because he's not going to get started right away, he's got to adjust to his new team. It's almost guaranteed that Blake Snell will have a worse season this year than he did last year. Can we all pretty much put solid money on the fact that he's not going to duplicate what he did last year?
Yeah, I don't think. I think that's going to be
so. His
tough
best case scenario will be coming off a slightly worse season. He can try it again in a free agent market that wasn't that interested in giving him a long-term deal this time around when he was younger and coming off a Cy Young Award.
It's weird to say.
This is why this is a huge loss, really, in my mind,
for him,
for Blake Snell.
Now, anytime you get the potential of $64 million for 2 years of work, hard to call that a loss.
True.
I get it.
Very true.
That being said, great tweet yesterday. Cody Bellinger wanted $200+ million. He got 80. Matt Chapman wanted 150. He got 54. Blake Snell wanted 270. He got 62. Jordan Montgomery is still unsigned. The mighty Scott Boras struck out this offseason. There was no joy at the Boras.
But we were
Court.
thinking Shohei Ohtani was going to get 400. He got 700.
Yeah.
Early offseason, Sean Manaea, there were all kinds of crazy high deals
Crazy
early
outliers,
in the offseason. And in the late season, offseason, it's all the discounts and the bargains and the patience that we've seen from some GMs, including perhaps A.J. Preller, paying off. Certainly for the Giants, though, who end up with
patience is one thing. Not having the ability to go out and spend is something else entirely.
That's fair. We'll see. If the Padres can add a Tommy Pham on a discount, that would be a nice move. We agree on that coming up here right before the season starts.
I've come around to another player we can talk about later. Then it's not Tommy Pham that I think would be a better fit tomorrow.
Well, absolutely. So with Blake Snell, though, it undoubtedly helps the Giants. They now have the top 2 vote getters in last year's Cy Young in Blake and Logan Webb to lead their starting rotation. He rejoins with manager Bob Melvin, who he was comfortable with. If he couldn't come back to the Padres and maybe couldn't go to Seattle, seems like this is one of the better options for Blake, and maybe that was part of it. Maybe he was getting some better offers in places that he just didn't want to go to and didn't feel comfortable. Don't know that he'll ever admit that, or Scott Boras would ever let him admit that, but that could have played a factor. But ultimately, the Giants had a pretty decent offseason,
really
starting with
did.
the addition of Jung-Ho Lee, Jordan Hicks, traded for Robbie Ray, who's hurt, but will be coming back at some point.
It's like sneaky good. When you, everybody looks at the Dodgers. They're the poster child of the offseason this year.
But you went and threw $400 million and you improved your team. Now, $400 million will improve some teams, certainly. And the Giants did that. And I'm
not mad at any of their moves.
No, I don't. I mean, we don't know what Jung-Ho Lee's going to be. I thought that was a bit of an overpay. I think everybody did. But that's a guy that they had earmarked for center field for many years to come. And they went out and they got their guy.
It may be overpaid a little bit, but they got their guy in center. Then they got Matt Chapman and Blake Snell late. And would it surprise you to learn? I was doing some of the investigation on their payroll and salary. They didn't really add to their payroll because 4 of their highest paid players from last year were all gone. In what was it? Jock Peterson, Brandon Crawford, Alex Wood. They've lost some of their top paid players from last year, so they were able to pretty much replace them all. And only this Blake Snell deal actually pushes the Giants ahead of the Padres in payroll by a little bit. They're both right kind of middle of the pack, just above average for the Major League Baseball payroll now in 2024, with the Giants 1 spot ahead of the Padres, according to Spot Track. So even though they've spent $300+ million in free agency on the guys that they've signed, they did it without really adding to their overall payroll. Now they've gotten more guys locked up and fixed costs going forward, but they were able to just basically replace some of the guys they lost with new players this offseason.
Well, and I saw a lot of mixed reaction yesterday, and it's, obviously if Snell goes to the Astros, I think the well wishes come pouring in a little bit more. The fact that he went to the Giants, it gives you a little bit of pause as a Padres fan. You go, oh boy, all right. It continues to get harder in the NL West. Torey Lovullo had some quote a couple of days ago before this even happened. He said, "Hey, I just wish all the great players would stop coming to the NL West." Well, there's been another one added, and the San Francisco Giants got him. And listen, if he, we've said this about Blake Snell for years, if he could cut down on the walks, what a great ballpark to pitch in for him. I mean, if he pumps strikes and lets his defense work, that's a phenomenal ballpark for him to succeed in.
I mean, it's a good ballpark for anyone to pitch in. I don't know that it helps Blake Snell more than most. It's not as though he was a home run dispenser. He gives up so little contact.
Yeah, the contact's pretty weak anyway.
The walks actually may hurt him more in San Francisco because everybody pitches better in San Francisco, because now Blake's lack of contact doesn't help him as much as it does in other parts.
Fair. It's a fair point. I mean, again, with Blake, it comes down to, is he ready to go? And I do wonder, I wonder what the ramp-up time is going to be. I think having a guy like Bob Melvin that he's played with definitely going to be helpful for him.
I mean, probably not going to see him next weekend.
I wouldn't count against it. I really would.
I'd be very surprised.
I would be shocked.
I would not be shocked.
If he pitched
in the first series of the week.
I assume he's been on a throwing program on his own.
He just did a sim game last week or something.
He threw for scouts. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you throw him? He's healthy. Why wouldn't you throw him? There's literally no reason not to. We just paid you $31 million. We'll see you at Petco Park.
I mean, we've talked for the last 2 weeks about how notoriously slow he is, even when he returns to a team.
He's still slow. He could still start slow, but I think you pitch Blake Snell 100% next week. That's why you got him for $31 million. They didn't pay him prorated.
Remember, the Giants are still in spring training, so they've got a couple of games left. Do you think he'll pitch in any of the last? They've got like 8 games left this spring.
Oh, 100%.
So if he pitches well in one of them, before they leave Scottsdale,
I would honestly say it's going to be Logan Webb and Blake Snell to start the season at Petco Park. I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
If they did that,
or maybe Sunday, then
they'd probably need to pitch him either Saturday or Monday. They've got games versus Arizona and at Oakland.
Yeah. Their
last couple of spring training games, which they could do this weekend if he's ramped up enough. Maybe he'll throw in a backfield though, and the first time anyone sees him could be in the regular season.
Yeah.
You're right; it's not impossible, but
He's not coming off an injury. There's
I don't know.
if
If I'm the coaching staff, I go, we got a 162 game season. Let's just make sure we're not pushing him too fast.
Well,
here.
you can throw him 4 innings. I mean, he may only go 4 innings.
That's true.
So you never know. I think we will see him at Petco Park, if not on Tony Gwynn opening day, maybe the day after.
Here's the one thing that won't be said by anyone, but is absolutely true. Major League Baseball owners are quietly celebrating the offseason of Scott Boras's,
no question.
I don't want to say demise because he'll probably come roaring back at some point, but it was a bad offseason for Scott Boras clients. After
good one for the
years
owners,
and years of Boras seemingly getting what he wanted from every single Major League Baseball owner, time and time again, and crowing and trumpeting about everything he gets for his players. And this offseason, it didn't go well. And I guarantee you, they can never say it out loud because it would be offensive to their players and it would be poisonous to the relationship with an agent that they're probably going to have to work with at some point.
Right.
But it's not just Dick Manfort. It's not just the...
You wanted to say Manfart.
I did because I can't... You say it so often, it gets stuck in my head. It's not just the cheap team owners.
Bob Nutting.
All 30 of them are thinking kind of quietly, This was good. I liked what we saw this year. That we kept the Boras clients in check a little bit this offseason.
No doubt.
And I know Jordan Montgomery's still out there as well.
And I was just going to say, there's still one out there. Who knows where he goes? He's got to be now. You don't want to be the last guy at the trough. You know what I mean? The last guy at the trough.
And conversely, Boras can't really stomp and moan and say he didn't do well for his clients.
Correct. You don't want to come out and say that.
That's not a good look for him as well. So it won't be said by the owners. It won't be said by Boras, who will say, we're happy with what we got. This is actually really good for Blake Snell.
This was my plan.
This is the plan
the whole time.
So
you guys are idiots. I was thinking 40
everyone will play nicely, but quietly, this is something that will be celebrated in the halls of ownership, and Scott Boras is kind of stomping and going, what's going on here? He's probably thinking the C word in his mind. It's not that one. It's collusion. Is what?
Like, man, that's harsh.
It's
thinking. A very harsh way to describe the offseason.
Ben's getting spicy.
This offseason was one huge C. Whoa.
Collusion is the C word that he's probably thinking in his head. Doubt he'll say it out loud.
Oh, it's been uttered around the offices of Boras. I bet he has slammed his fist on his desk and said, "This is collusion." They'll make a movie out of this.
They're out to get me.
Yeah,
they're out
to
to cut out my legs. They want me to look bad so other people don't come and use me as a client in the future. Hey, you don't want to go with that Boras. You see what happened this last offseason?
If you're Pete Alonso right now, you're like, oh God, 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 oh God.
There's a vendetta out for Boras clients, whatever. This is being thought around Major League Baseball right now.
You're Pete Alonso, you're like, I play in the biggest media market in the world. I roll out of bed and hit 40 bombs a year. I'm still fairly young. I thought I was staring down the barrel of like a nice 8 to 10 year deal at 335 per. Now I'm sitting here going, Pete Alonso to the Pirates for $16 million and an opt-out. Like, it is, I'm telling you, like, I would be surprised if some guys don't start looking in other directions. If I'm another agent, I'm on the horn. I am, because that's the agent game. There's nothing actually illegal about it. If you're an agent, Ben, today, that's how greasy that industry is. You could literally track Pete Alonso down and go, hey, bro, Ben Higgins here out of San Diego. Are you sure you want to stay? I'm here. If you need me, I'm here, man. I got your back. You can call me anytime. I bet you guys are just getting pummeled with phone calls.
The big question, and we'll tackle it as we continue on this morning, does the signing push the Giants past the Padres? Again, if the Cease trade had pushed the Padres back ahead of the Giants, does this push the Giants back ahead of the Padres? What a race, probably for second or third, it's going to be in the NL West. All right. Don't forget, we've got early tournament of drops coming to start our 7 o'clock hour next here on 97.3 The Fan. Another topic we're going to need to get into, and we were just discussing during the break here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. What kind of reception is Blake Snell going to get when he returns to Petco Park? Why would it be anything other, at least the first time, than absolute
Why do we do this every
appreciation and applause?
So stupid.
Why do we do this every time? I'm not booing anybody that used to be here.
He won a
Except
Cy
Austin
Young
Hedges,
Award for the
that's it.
Padres last season. He, from everything we've heard, was not even offered a contract by the Padres.
Correct. He didn't do anything
You can't
wrong.
be mad that he didn't sign with the Padres. They didn't offer him anything. I mean, I guess, hey, I'll play for the absolute minimum to stay here. That really is what it probably would have taken to keep Blake Snell, somewhere around that.
Not what it would have taken. What we had to spend.
Right.
The
Yeah,
absolute
Blake would have
minimum.
had to take near like a minimum, or at least like a tenth of what he could get even on this little deal from the Giants to stay with the Padres. So there was no offer. There was no chance for him to stay. He won a Cy Young Award. Get on your feet and give him a standing ovation.
You don't have to. Do it however you want. But,
Well-
why the constant? We do this in this town
Now,
all the time.
After he shoves a couple of times against the Padres, if you want to be frustrated and get mad, go ahead.
I'm going to say, hey, welcome
But when
back.
they introduce the starting lineups on opening day and they say down the left field line,
Him and
Blake
Bob Melvin will both get booed.
hopefully number 4, Blake Snell, you better give him I'm going to say that right now. If you boo him, you're bad fan. You're doing it wrong. I don't like to tell you how to fan.
You just did.
But
You just did.
Blake Snell deserves to be appreciated when he comes back. Now, Bob Melvin, I don't know. You can do what you want with Bob coming back. I'll probably not get up and cheer full-throated, but I'll thanks Bob.
Those two guys, yeah,
Every time he says it.
both
Yes.
of those guys were integral into one of the most fun seasons I've ever had watching, covering a baseball team.
Correct. Like them both.
Blake Snell won a Cy Young last year. He was great in 2022. Bob Melvin
Took us to the NLCS.
took us to the NLCS.
I mean-
I have I will not boo Juan Soto when he comes back.
I'm a screamer at guys at home on my TV, but not at the ballpark. And I've just never been like, boo. Yeah, it's not who I am. It's just not who I am. I'm not in love with everyone. I celebrate everyone.
I
but-
will be laughing at you if you're in my section booing those guys. You're going to look like a moron.
Oh, wow. You guys with their
I agree.
hot takes.
I
Holy
agree.
cow.
All right, this hour on 97.3 The Fan is
Lord.
brought to you by your local San Diego County, the UPS Store. Your local San Diego County, the UPS Store locations are hosting a shred event from March 27th through March 30th. 50% off shredding services. Visit theupsstore.com for the location nearest you. See store for details. If you want to get online for Take on Woods, you can qualify for a trip to Las Vegas in just a couple of minutes. Our musical trivia challenge. Tier 1 V Woods coming up. Give us a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. First, though, a little bit early today, it is time to reveal the final results from the Sweet 16 round of our Tournament of Drops. We have been whittling them down from 32 at the start of last week, and now we're going to get down to the Elite 8 today as we take a look at yesterday's results. Your voting, last 24 hours on Twitter, are funny sound drops that we enjoy that Paulie plays during the show. And let's get started. So yesterday, in the top right-hand quadrant, the anatomy bracket, we had the number 1 seed, which was Taylor Woods, going up against the number 4 seed. A bit of a problematic matchup. This was me.
Oh my God, I'm so stiff.
It's weird.
And with 53.5% of the vote, a fairly close battle, the winner advancing to the Elite 8 was... Woods' kids do very well in the Tournament of Drops. Historically,
Not just Woods' children, but the 1 seeds this year. It's been a really good year for the 1 seeds.
fairly well seeded
Chalky.
by the bracketologist here. So, Woods' kids, though, you always expect them to go deep, and another Elite 8 run, this time for Taylor Woods. All right, we had the 2 seed in the anatomy bracket. Again, another Ben drop.
Fister? Yeah, absolutely.
Hotel Talk in Milwaukee. Going up against the 3 seed, always a very popular choice, the voice of the Padres, Jesse Agler.
Ooh, a booty. I'm going to have a booty.
But this time with 67.1% of the vote, over 2/3 of Tier 1s chose as the winner
Fister? Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's such that's why.
All right. And then in the bottom right-hand quadrant, our wild card bracket, you again had the number 1 seed still alive in the round of 16.
Ding-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling.
The slot machine sound going up against our CEO, the number 4 seed.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
And another convincing result here, 69.2% of the vote. The winner in the wild card region was
Ding-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling.
number 1 seed again. And in the bottom quadrant of the wild card region, it was the number 2 seed, our friend Welsh Friar.
Llanffair, Pysgwingis, go get it, Queen Jobot, Llantysilio, go, go, go.
The Welsh town name going up against the number 3 seed, Darko, coach of the Raptors.
It's a complete crap.
And this one a little bit closer, but 63.1%
A lot of people like Darko, man.
the Tier 1 voters choose...
It's a complete crap.
That's
Darko.
That's the right answer.
Moving on in the tournament
Good
of
showing
drops.
from the rookie.
Very good.
In his first tournament of drops.
Nice job, Welsh Friar, but just not strong enough yet.
So that leaves us now with the Elite 8 of our tournament of drops. And we're going to do all 4 matchups in the Elite 8 to get down to the Final 4 for our visit to 7 Mile Casino tomorrow. So let's get to it. Our matchups, we'll start with the regional final in our explicit bracket, and it is the number 1 seed in the regional final.
Hey there, Delilah.
Hey there, Delilah. And it is going up against the... Which seed is it? I'm trying to find.
6.
The number 6 seed, right, in the explicit bracket.
And someone didn't secure their load of gravel.
All right, Kelly
That is a
Danek.
banger, man.
That 6th seed, that might as well be 5th seeded San Diego State.
Yeah, it's
taking on number 1 overall seeded Alabama.
That's exactly right.
I'm nervous for you there,
I am
Delilah.
too.
I mean, there's a lot of power choices left. I have no idea who's going to win this overall. So that's your matchup in the explicit region. Down in the baseball bracket, have the number 1 seed still alive there, Goose Gossage.
You're a nerd, too.
Just every time.
Going up against our king, our best friend for life, Manny Machado.
What up, crew?
Ooh. And that's done very well early in
Surprising.
the bracket.
It's kind of a dark horse, yeah.
Another 1-6. So we got 2 1-6 matchups on the left side. And then the right side, the winners you just heard, the 1 seed in the anatomy region. Going up against the 2 seed.
Fister? Yeah, absolutely.
Our only 1 versus 2 matchup in the regional finals. And then another 1 seed in the wild card region.
Ding-ling-ling-ling-ling-ling.
And this time going up against the very strong 3 seed in Darko.
It's a complete crap.
I think it's shaken out pretty good. Pretty good. Like this has been a really, really good tourney. Now,
I would agree.
Get your votes in on Twitter at Ben and Woods. Paulie's going to post those. Go in and vote. You can only vote once. So vote with your what do I say? Vote with your head, not your heart. All right.
Polls are up.
Polls are up.
Is it possible to vote with anything other than your heart
Sure.
in the tournament of drops?
It is because, again, like Juan Soto should have never beaten Adam. Just because we liked Juan Soto. Should have never beaten Adam, ever. It's a travesty. And that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, we all like Juan Soto, but he's not winning a cash prize
How do you
for
vote?
this.
How do you vote?
I vote by what's the best drop is. What's the funniest best drop?
I vote for the one that just makes me the happiest when I hear it.
Well, then you're not voting for yourself a lot, I would imagine.
No, I
Right,
don't vote
so
for myself very often.
Vote for the funniest drop. Vote for the funniest one.
You're absolutely right. Unless it's a Ben versus Ben matchup,
Right.
it's very rare that I vote for my own drops.
Yeah,
in the
do I
tournament of
want
drops.
creamy or balls on my chest? Which one do I want? So I get it, but like, there's no way Juan Soto beats Adam Klug. None. And Carving Guy eliminated early. Like, it was a real tough one last year.
It's just, it happens.
It's how the ball
not
bounces.
Not every single elected official in the history of this country was great.
That's exactly right.
And the tier ones, we got that one wrong.
We got that one wrong. And now,
I think we've had a good 3 out of 4 years
and
up
now,
to this
now
point.
he's gone, and now he's sitting there with a trophy.
And
that
we're
we
looking
gave
at
him.
another strong bracket.
Very strong. All
Last chance to get in for Take on Woods, 833-288-0973. Jay just says he votes for the funniest.
Yeah, the funniest.
Funniest of the drops.
And there was nothing funnier than
But everyone
is it
has
extra sweet.
Everyone has their own opinion of what is funny and what is not funny.
I don't think there's even a question. Adam screaming at the top of his lungs at our owner twice.
Is it extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers?
Pardon me? What did you say?
Is it extra sweet because it's against the Dodgers?
Yes, it was extra sweet. It was It was like finding a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow when we got that audio. I was like, oh, my God. And then you just have Juan Snell, good morning. Stupid. I was so mad last year. I almost pulled. Called for.
I had to stop Woods from election interference.
Oh, yeah, for real.
He was ready to overturn.
Yeah.
He was ready to storm the Ben and Woods Capitol and overturn our election. But I
Purple
said,
says
you can't do that.
Carving guy was overplayed. I voted against it. Well, guess who's dead to me? You're dead to me.
All right. Are we ready to get to today's game, Paulie?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to a little take on Woods. All right, we got a couple names on here. Let's go to our friend Maggie. Maggie, good morning. Welcome to Take on Woods. How are you today?
Hey, guys. How's it going? I'm just kind of waking up. Let me get speaker.
Perfect timing.
Good morning.
For you. Thank you for calling in, and let's see if we can get you qualified for this month's grand prize. It is a 2-night stay at the Fontainebleau Las Vegas and dinner for two, $150 dinner credit. The legacy of the Fontainebleau Las Vegas is built upon more than 70 years of sublime beauty, unparalleled service, and timeless design. Book now at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. You know how it works, so let's go right to the categories. Got forever and ever. Ever and forever in all of the answers. Cherry picking, cherry the key word on that one. And our new category, Billy Goats, 5 artists or song title, including the name Billy. So forever and ever, cherry picking, or Billy Goats. Maggie, what would you like to play?
Let's go with cherry picking, but you can go ahead and give Woods the category too.
Oh,
sure
Maggie is taking the bull by the horns in the category of cherry picking. So 5 musical answers, artists, song titles that all include the word cherry. You have 60 seconds. If you don't know an answer, you can say pass. We'll come back to it if the time is remaining on the clock. First question's the 2-second song. Paulie's queuing up a little music. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that one. We'll compare with Woods' score. If you beat or tie him, we'll put you into the drawing. Maggie, are you ready to play?
Sure, let's go.
Paulie, your computer working okay today?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Give him 1 second in the category of
Need me to move.
cherry picking. It's been an interesting computer week here around the Odyssey Palace.
We also don't start most songs.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
hard.
middle.
Sometimes the song doesn't work if you start it right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I'm ready.
I tell Paulie, you got to cue it up to the specific portion of the song. All right, 60 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Maggie. Let's take on Woods.
That's Neil Diamond, and I think it's just Cherry.
Correct. Which sweet treat provides the title to a 1990 hit by glam rockers Warrant?
Can you repeat the question?
What sweet treat provides the title to a 1990 hit by glam rockers Warrant?
Cherry pie.
Correct. Which American
Cherry
swing and ska band broke into the mainstream with their 1997 compilation Zoot Suit Riot?
Cherry Poppin' Daddy.
Correct. A 1975 hit for the Runaways and a nostalgic 1987 song by John Mellencamp share what title?
Great song. It's Cherry Bomb.
Correct. Which 1970s band is best known for their song Play That Funky Music?
Wild Cherry.
Oh, no wonder she can give Woods the category. She just went 5 for 5. Congratulations, Maggie. You are in for the drawing for Las Vegas. Well done today. All Woods can do is come back and tie that perfect score of a 5 for 5. But he will have the advantage here. Maggie is your opponent today, and she wants you to have the category.
Maggie?
Yes.
Oh, she's such a hard ass.
So
man.
today's
Of course she gave me the
category, Woods, is cherry picking.
Okay. Do you like
60
cherry?
60 seconds back on the clock.
Cherry picking. Okay.
And by the way, since Maggie let you know that, I'll also let you know you better get them all right. So be careful.
God, I hate when you do
Be
this.
careful on the 2-second song.
It's like
too.
a manager giving the ball to his closer and saying, hey, you have to get all 3 of these outs. Yeah, I know what my job
All
is.
right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays
You
the
walk
music.
one guy.
Yeah, it's
game's
over.
Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Maggie.
It's Neil Diamond, Cherry. Cherry.
Correct. Which sweet treat provides the title to a 1990 hit by glam rockers Warrant?
That's cherry pie.
Correct. Which American swing and ska band broke into the mainstream with their 1997 compilation Zoot Suit Riot?
Oh, the Squirrel Nut Zippers.
What's the category?
It's cherry.
That's incorrect.
No, you're
a
right.
1975 hit for the Runaways and a nostalgic 1987 song by John Mellencamp. Share what title?
Cherry Bomb.
Correct.
Was it the cherry?
Which 1970s band is best known for their song "Play That Funky Music"?
Casey and the Cherry Boys.
No. Wow. That's a 3, and Maggie an outright win. Yeah, it's the Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
And Wild Cherry is Play That Funky Music.
I don't know
Maggie.
why I
maybe
said
we should be
Squirrel
playing
Nut
Take on
Zippers.
Maggie instead of Take on Woods.
Easy. Let's see her do it for 2 years straight. All right, settle down.
Maggie, congratulations on a very well played game today against Woodsy and Take on Woods.
She always plays me tough.
She does.
Oh, I think I've only beaten her like once.
She's very
great.
good.
She's
at this
excellent.
Game. Woods, you are outstanding. You do it consistently. You're right.
Man.
Pressure is on you every single day, but Maggie is
Yeah,
outstanding.
why would you say Squirrel Nut Zippers if the category is cherry? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Maybe it's like the nuts, and there's a nut inside
And
the cherry. It's
yeah,
like a pit or something. There's-
Exactly.
What is Ben doing with this category? I don't
Cherry
understand.
Poppin' Daddies is what I was trying to think of. And then what was the one other one I missed?
Cherry, Wild Cherry is Play That Funky Music.
I would not have. I always think that's Casey and the Sunshine Band. I don't
It's
know
funk.
why.
It's the same, certainly the
Damn it.
the same era, but
Good
no.
job, Mags.
All right, good job, Maggie. All right, Don't Do This is coming up next. By the way, with all the good feeling that Giants fans had yesterday about the signing of Blake Snell, they also kind of messed something up really, really badly.
I feel like this is why they actually signed Blake Snell to do a
Make
little
up for
news
what
dump.
they did.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll get to that coming up next after a check of traffic with Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Still talking about Maggie's great win in Take on Woods, which, of course, is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. I got that one right by our house. I was driving by it yesterday, and I know I'm probably due in about a month.
Yeah,
so
well, you know where to go.
I do know where to go now, thanks to Woodsy and thanks to Valvoline. All right, let's start Don't Do This with, I guess you can file this under You Had One Job. And I'm surprised, actually, that it doesn't happen more often with how complicated the salary cap is in the NFL, in all sports, but certainly in the NFL. The San Francisco 49ers, though, ran afoul, apparently, because in 2022, whoever the accountant is who is in charge of submitting all the numbers made an error in, I guess, just kind of the ultimate addition of what they were doing, and they submitted incorrect payroll numbers, and the NFL has punished the 49ers for that mistake. They will forfeit a 2025 draft choice.
How does this happen?
And they will be knocked down 4 spots this year in their 4th-round selection due to basically a math error. You did not do the math right.
No, that would be me.
Now,
if I was the
if you're thinking, that sounds a little light of a punishment for violating the NFL's financial rules. They're sticklers about it, and they are. But the NFL did say, and they released a statement, that while the error was caught, it was not an intentional attempt by the 49ers to circumvent salary cap rules. They do believe it was an honest mistake, and ultimately, had they submitted the right numbers, they still would have been under the salary cap. So they kind of skated a little bit because it was an unintentional mistake, but they still lose a draft pick.
So they weren't trying to do anything untoward?
No, it doesn't sound like they were trying to pull a fast one on the rest of the league. It was simply an accounting error.
That makes it better or worse.
That led to some bad numbers. Well, it's you had one job. You're the guy who was supposed to submit the accurate numbers for our salary cap, and you made a mistake.
I picture the Kevin James meme right now of him like...
Who's it? John Lynch, GM.
Yeah.
Like, who makes that error, and then who has to tell John? Hey,
yeah, it's not John Lynch who's doing the math. I can tell you that.
You know how we usually have 7 draft picks?
Yeah.
Yes.
6
next year. Not going to happen this year.
Take a little bit of a load off in that round. So
he's just like, I'm sorry, what? Excuse me? What happened?
I cost you a draft pick. Like when I had to go to my boss. And I said I gave away an extra iPad, and I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Now, the one guy, as you know, he did not get one, but I did screw up one time and give away one too many.
I'd like to think John Lynch said, hey, everybody makes mistakes.
Right.
Don't make any more.
Yeah, just don't do it again. I'm going to give you a slap on the wrist here. Pretty interesting story out of San Francisco. I was reading through Grant Brisbee in The Athletic, his incredible article. And it's in regards to the public address announcer, Reindl Brooks Moon, who has been the public address announcer for the San Francisco Giants for 24 seasons. 24. She will not be back for a 25th. The Giants announced in a news press release titled, ahead of the 2024 season, Giants name Reindl Brooks Moon, public address announcer emeritus. Now that sounds great,
doesn't it? It sounds like what an honor.
Until you get to the part. They said, although they discussed an extension of her contract, which ended in December 2023, after extensive discussions, they mutually and amicably agreed to part ways. But I don't know that it was as amicable and mutual as the statement sounded. Turns out they could not get a deal done. And listen, Grant made a good point. He goes, look, very few people go to the game to hear the public address announcer, unless, of course, you're coming to a San Diego Seals game. Then that's pretty much the only reason to
Woods,
come.
will you be the Seals public address announcer emeritus soon because you couldn't come to a contract agreement? It's weird because I've done PA, you've done PA. It's usually, let's be honest. It's usually, a couple hundred a game sort of job.
Sure.
But when you get to the level of where she is,
24
iconic
years,
voice, 24 years, I think you have the power to ask for a little bit more. And if you're the Giants, I feel like you probably
need to wear that one.
know that we need to pay our PA announcer a little bit more than perhaps other PA announcers just to her status in the game.
Well, and a lot of players have come to her defense as well. Lamont Wade Jr. said, I can't even tell you how close we were. She made it an effort to come down and meet my family and know my family. This is a different type of person.
And even if you've never been to a Giants game, you even watching on TV, you hear her in the background. I mean, it'll sound very familiar to you.
Yeah, so she is. She's out of a job, and I'm team PA announcer always. Now I've been with the Seals since they started, Ben. My salary hasn't changed. My per game has not changed.
Really?
Yeah, it has not changed. It's the same as it was.
I mean, you work very hard. Harder than most PA announcers work.
It's gnarly down there.
You're probably due for a raise. I mean, if the people in the Seals front office are listening right now,
pay that man.
I think you're probably in danger of losing Woods if you don't show him the proper respect
for
the kind of effort that he's been putting in night after night.
Yeah.
As your PA announcer.
I want to win a championship.
Let's go Seals!
Because then maybe I could ride off into the sunset. Does that make sense?
And then you could really be the emeritus PA announcer for the Seals.
I would probably buy season tickets, though. That's how much I love them.
All right, finally, a little do this.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
And the San Diego State Aztecs, not the only team from San Diego participating in the NCAA tournament. And just wanted to shout out, because I know we've got some good listeners up there. Don't talk about them a ton, but Cal State San Marcos, their women's basketball team, for the first time ever, has advanced to the Elite Eight in the NCAA Division II tournament. They got 2 free throws with 4.6 seconds to play last night to beat Montana State Billings 73-71 in the West Regional Final at Azusa Pacific University to advance to the essentially they instead of a Final Four in Division II, they take the 8 teams and get them all together for the final 3 rounds. So they're advancing to the final Elite 8 and an opportunity to bring a national title back to San Diego. Yeah, 1 level below San Diego State and USD, but congratulations to Cal State San Marcos and their ladies for taking it home. 3 straight wins to get to the Elite 8 of the NCAA Division II Women's Basketball Tournament.
Well done. Thank you, Benny.
And that is Don't and Do This for a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. We talked earlier about a little FOMO of missing out in Korea. I don't know if this is going to help or hurt.
I think it's going to hurt, actually. I mean, I think there's only one thing it can do.
Jaycation is there. He's a active YouTuber. Used to work here in the Chargers Public Relations Department when they were in San Diego many, many years ago. It's when I met him. And JJ is going to join us when we come back from Seoul, South Korea, to give us a little bit of flavor. He's been covering this trip officially. He's credentialed. So give us some insight on what's been going on with the Padres and Dodgers in Seoul, South Korea. Coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We have so many events here at 97.3 The Fan. It's almost hard to keep track. But coming up at 8 o'clock this morning, we will make our next announcement as to where our opening day live broadcast is going to take place.
And we have like 3 more after that, just FYI. So thanks for being here with us. We have a lot going on.
Yeah, we're not trying to inundate you with special announcements, but yeah, you tune in at 8 o'clock, and we will let you know where we'll be next Thursday.
We choose these very carefully, like special announcement, big station announcement, but we have been asked 10 times a day, every day for the last week or two, where are you guys going to be for the home opener? Where will you be for the home opener? We have an announcement coming up in about 20, 25 minutes.
Yep. Looking forward to that. All right, let's check traffic, and then we'll come back, and we'll head out to South Korea to get our man on the scene. JJ is there. Jaycation on YouTube is going to join us from Seoul right after Kelly's traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a collision involving a car and a motorcycle westbound 8 before college. Everything's over the right shoulder. Other than that, no big surprises on our roads, which means, of course, you're still going to see the usual slowing in the usual spots, but at least nothing getting in your way. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And joining us right now, you are officially in Seoul, South Korea at the moment, JJ?
I am, yeah, just right across the street from the Sky Dome.
Excellent. So JJ, you can follow him on YouTube at Jaycation. I met him long ago when he worked for the Chargers. Kind of a low-level PR employee, but was the best guy. He was he was always fantastic to deal with. He got out of there though just in time, and now he's got tons of followers on his YouTube stream. He goes all over the place doing these travel videos, and you followed the Padres and Dodgers to Korea. You're officially there covering it. What's it been like for you so far?
You want to know the truth?
Yes, please.
It's been real confusing and hard to figure out, but
now listen,
I'm getting there.
Now listen, if you watch Bob Scanlon on Twitter, we love Scan. Scan's our guy. But according to Bob Scanlon, he's like, this is the greatest running city in the world. It is a well-oiled machine. There is nothing wrong. Everything's perfect. The food's amazing. I'm so glad that you came with this perspective, because tell us why it's been a little bit confusing and difficult to navigate for you.
Well, Woodsy, man, I was watching Scanlon's Twitter, and I was like, this guy should be the one that's a travel vlogger. He's over here getting like robots getting food delivered to him, taking out his trash. He's up in the Sky Tower, like looking down, and I was like, Scan's the real YouTuber. I'm just a fan walking around lost in the subway.
Right. Yeah. He's like, oh, this subway. Look how easy it is. Even a moron could do it. And he's like, this is impossible. I love that, dude. I love that. So is the city hard to navigate?
The city is huge. Like, multiply San Diego by 20, and that's what you get. Like, each part is downtown San Diego, and everything is 30 minutes away from here.
I've heard, yeah, the population is close to like Los Angeles, except it's in a much smaller space. So the density, like, there are so many people everywhere in Seoul, South Korea. Has that been your experience, JJ?
Oh man, I was packed in the subway like a sardine can in there, and everybody is so well behaved, and I'm just there stressing out. People are bumping into me. I'm like freaking out, but yeah, there's tons of people around here.
So tell me a little bit about your experience with the food. We saw the Padres, Chan-ho Park, hosting a dinner at a Korean barbecue. Looked like a high-end place. The quality of the meat, I mean, the marbling on that stuff that they were eating looked absolutely incredible. What's been your experience? I mean, street food, what have you been eating while you've been in Seoul?
So Major League Baseball gave me food coupons for the ballpark, so I've been eating all the concession stands at the ballpark and pretty much filming a video about like the Korean food around the Sky Dome. But when I'm not at the Sky Dome, I know nothing about Korean food, so I've been eating downstairs at the convenience store because it's 24 hours.
What about the ballpark food, though? Is it the typical, is it hot dog, peanuts, Cracker Jacks, or what's the ballpark stadium food even like?
It's actually pretty impressive. They have Korean chicken. What else did I have there? They had like a Philly cheesesteak over there I had once, and these fish sticks that were amazing. They're actually really good. Nothing holds a candle to Petco Park. I'll give you guys that. But having an Asian food experience at a ballpark, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different. I like that there's when you're here in the States, when they have those different options, it is kind of cool to do that. But when you're over there and you're looking for something that you're used to, it's a whole different ball game, man. Talking to our pal JJ, he's the host of Jaycation on YouTube, and Ben brought up something I wanted to ask you about too, the San Diego tourist traps, and I was laughing. You had done a video, and I've not seen it yet, but I'm planning on going and watching. I wanted to talk about that for a moment because I thought that's such a brilliant one to have as a guy that's from here. You know exactly where to avoid. Now, Ben did mention the border was one, and I see why people would want to at least go see it if they're from Iowa or Illinois or whatever. But, like, what are some other ones here in San Diego that you say, listen, if you come to town, don't waste your time?
Well, I'm not a big SeaWorld fan because of all the stuff that's been going on with that.
Sure.
But I know they've done a better job. But yeah, SeaWorld is definitely a tourist trap in my book. And then there's parts on Fifth that I don't like.
I agree.
Like, there's some restaurants there that you should avoid.
You can
I don't
do
want to
better
name names,
downtown.
but for sure.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you go right to like the main stretch on Fifth. It looks glitzy, but honestly, you're going to find you find better restaurants if you go a little bit more toward the ballpark or kind of the surrounding sections of downtown. You're absolutely right. You got to do. I like what Jay does is you have to do a little research before you go somewhere new. If you just kind of show up and let the like the tourist brochures take you everywhere, you're not going to get the best experience. Is that been in what you've seen and found as you've traveled, Jay?
Yeah, like if you do a little research and you start bookmarking things that are to your liking, I think every traveler is different. Some people want to eat food, some people want to see the historic sites, some people want to go shopping, and it's really up to you to do your due diligence before you travel and try to figure out where you want to go. And for San Diego, that's what I try to present to the viewer. Like, watch my videos and then decide from there. Do I want to go to the San Diego Zoo? Do I want to check out this restaurant in East Village, or have a night out in Little Italy or something like that?
JJ's also a big Vegas guy, a lot of Vegas videos, including one at the Fontainebleau where we're just giving away the trip for two, so you can check out his YouTube channel. Now, have you seen a lot of the players, any of the events that they've gone to, and what the reception has been, especially for guys like Ha-Seong Kim, coming back to his home country? What have you seen there?
Oh man, Ha-Seong Kim is a rock star over here. All the kids, I was wearing this jersey that I had made by Sports Fever here in San Diego, San Diego, and nobody else has that jersey. And the kids were just like, where can I get that? And I was like, oh yeah, Roger from Sports Fan made that for me. So
that's amazing. And so you got a chance. You were at the games, right? So you got to see how the crowds were. What was your impression of the Korean crowds as it pertains to all the action on the field? I couldn't tell. So the first game I watched, I woke up really early, and it seemed a little bit louder than the second game, even though Ha-Seong Kim did hit 2 bombs in that game, and I did hear it get pretty loud. What was your impressions of the crowd over there?
Yeah, so the first night, I think there were a lot more people because the game started in the evening, and then the second game was at noon Seoul time. So there were a lot less people in the crowd. What I noticed about the Korean crowd is an hour before the game, they filter in, get their food, and by the time the game starts, they're all in their seats. Like, the concessions are empty. Unlike in Petco, where the concessions are just stacked till like the 5th inning. And the concession stands, like, they bust out the food so quickly. And I was pretty surprised by that.
It's a good plan to eat. Then, get it all in, get there early, eat, and then you're good to go for the game.
They're like singing the whole game.
Yeah.
You can't really eat and sing and dance the entire time. You have to do one or the other. And that's basically what they do, JJ, at games, is like chant and sing the whole time.
Yeah, they got cheerleaders on the dugouts, and they even had a song for Manny Machado. They made a K-pop song for Manny, and they sang it during the game.
Amazing.
I don't know how that's not distracting to the batter, but
they're used to it. He's heard worse, by the way. He's heard worse than people yelling at him.
Probably.
I mean, me and Paulie were at spring training, and a guy was like, "I'm gonna come down there and kill you!" Like,
you bum,
you bum.
It's like dead silent. He definitely could hear everything.
Yeah, he definitely hears worse. How are the? Somebody wanted to know in the chat, how expensive is the food like at the ballpark?
It's actually not bad. It's a little more pricey than you would get outside of the stadium, but it's not like the prices in major league ballparks around the U.S.
What's like the conversion rate? So if like something cost $5 in the United States, how many won does it cost in Korea generally? Can you do that in your head?
I took out 100,000 won.
Wow.
Man, you are loaded.
That's only like I think that's only like $100 or something like that. Yeah, I have to look at this convert. I've been doing the whole converting thing.
That's amazing. I'm gonna look that up. 100. I'll take 100,000 won. Yeah, it's $100, bud. Relax.
You feel like a high roller at the casino. You're like, I'm
100,000 won, chump change.
That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna place a $200,000 won bet on the Padres to win the World Series.
Easy, big time. It's $200. Okay, your return is $250, so you'll be good.
Well, JJ, really appreciate you giving
man.
us the flair. You can check out his YouTube page at Jaycation if you want to see some of his travel videos. And if you're watching on our YouTube stream, you can see his little Google screen behind us. It is live. It's 11:50 p.m. right now on Tuesday night in South Korea. So just about midnight, time to get to bed, and it'll be game day tomorrow, JJ.
Yep. Excited for that, and can't wait to see the Padres do some damage on that LA team. So,
Us too, buddy.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Our pleasure. Great job, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Good talking to you. Jaycation on YouTube. JJ Manikis, San Diego guy, and he's made it big on YouTube. It's definitely it's a career path for people now.
It really is, and what a path it is. It didn't exist when we were kids, Benny. It really did. Like maybe one guy was like, "Oh, you tune into him, and he'll tell you he's the one traveling the world." Right. Now it happens all the time, but I love that he's in Korea. And he's been there a few days, and he's tried a couple things. And he's like, I'm just going to eat at the convenience store in the hotel. It's very me. It's very,
I like the
very
honest.
me.
I like the
too.
Honesty. Because if you watch Bob Scanlon's feed, it looks like Korea is the easiest place to visit in history.
Like I've just died and gone to Utopia. This is what Utopia is.
You bought from one well-maintained, efficient place to the next.
Yeah.
You see every tourist site. I mean, Bob was like on the 113th floor of the tower, and then he was at a night market, and he's taking pictures of everywhere. He sees every food item, and everything looks perfect and clean when Bob is there. He is really doing it better than I think JJ is doing it.
Yeah, Alex just said on Twitter, Scan's going to be so disappointed when he gets home. I know. He is really diving in. I did like that honest perspective of like, I'll be honest with you. I'm having a rough time. I really am having a rough time over here. I'm now eating out of the convenience store in the lobby of the hotel.
That would be a Woods move at some
eating
point.
Popcorn in my room, watching iPad. It's like I can't walk anymore. I can't do this. The thought of being on the subway again with that many people is. That's how I used to travel when I lived in Chicago. Was all on the L. I didn't have a car for years, which was such a plus. But also those busy days, those busy moments, you're like, oh my God, and then it will stop, and there's no explanation why it stopped. And it just sits there, and you rot inside, and you feel like you're gonna die.
I've seen this in Japan. I don't know if it's the case in Korea, but the trains get so crowded, they actually have employees, and they wear these white gloves, and they shove people in so they can get the doors closed. Like that's their job, is to just cram as many people as possible onto the train before the door closes, which doesn't sound great to me.
Yeah, JD says Scan's going to unretire and play in the KBO. I bet you he could get a contract to pitch in the KBO if that split is still working.
He is a tourist attraction himself because he's so tall.
9 feet tall.
He's almost like a carnival sideshow over there.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just go out to him and ask for like selfies with the giant American man.
So funny.
And he has been kind of the object, maybe of as much attention as some of the other members of the traveling party who actually play.
Guy's drinking
for the San Diego
I
Padres.
can't wait to talk to him next week, opening day around that time.
Just quickly, some Dodgers news, of course, while they are there. Dave Roberts announcing that Shohei Ohtani is going to start a throwing program soon and did not close the door on the idea that he might play in the field during the season, not return to pitching this year. But they could get him in. Yeah, I would assume
Freddie
it's either
Freeman's a first baseman,
either a corner outfield. Now he's going to be the DH for most of the year, but it is an issue. Let's say like Freddie Freeman or Mookie Betts had like a week or two, like Manny did last year, where they could hit, but they can't play the field.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to be able to keep all those guys in the lineup?
Every day.
It would require at some point Shohei Ohtani going out into the field. If you have two guys who can only hit, you can't put them both in the lineup. You've only got one DH. So I think it does behoove the Dodgers, even if it's only for a handful of games during the season, if they can get Shohei Ohtani ready, that would actually make sense because it might, allow them to rest a guy for a day and keep Shohei's bat in the lineup so he can DH, or if a guy's injured and can hit, you could still keep them in the lineup. For now, though, Ohtani has to be the DH if he's going to be in the lineup, and everyone else, if they need a day off, they can't hit, which is not a weakness of the Dodgers, but it's just a little tiny crack that they have in their roster construction.
And there's a few. There's a few in every roster. No roster is foolproof, certainly. I don't
know. A throwing program is a long way from actually getting out and playing in the field, just getting started.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it'll be a couple of months before you'd even think about sending him out there. But just something to keep in mind. I'm not saying, Dodgers are in trouble now. They probably will miss the playoffs because of their roster construction issues, but everyone deals with it at this time of year, and even the Dodgers with what they've spent. Not a perfect team. No shortstop, no backups for DH because you've got one and he can't do anything else. They do have their concerns. All right, we'll come back, start the second half of the show with our announcement of where we'll be on opening day morning next Thursday.
Yes.
It's Ben and Woods and Paul right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Pham.
Halfway home on a Tuesday, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Great to be here with you. Another beautiful day out there in our fair burg. I'm Woodsy. That is Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Benjamin Higgins joins us as well, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. And, we've got another big announcement to make in a series of Ben and Woods big announcements.
I'll do it. As soon as JJ just finished our interview, went downstairs, saw Scan in line for fried shrimp at a concession stand. The guy is not stopping with it, just absorbing every amount of Korea he can while he's on this trip.
His wife's like, all right, man, that's just enough. Can we just stop? Can we just relax for a while? No, I'm going to try this fried shrimp down at the concession
It's
stand.
almost midnight, Scan. Go to bed.
Yeah, go to bed.
Go
dude.
to bed.
Like, we've had Scanlon on before and talked to him about food. Like, that guy, packs it in. He eats a ton.
He doesn't miss a meal. It's always what I've seen from Scan. It's big breakfast, big lunch, big dinner, and usually big post game as well. So 4 meals a day. He has an incredible metabolism. Now, I think he exercises and works out as well. As a former professional athlete, but he is not. He's getting to middle age. How old would you say Scan is? 44, 45, maybe somewhere around there. He's not. It's not happening to him like the rest of us when you get to that age. And things start to just slow down.
He's 57 years old. 57.
Wow.
How can that guy be 57?
Born on August 9th, 1966.
All right, well.
He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. He may be a vampire, actually. See if
57.
See what happens. There's no way a 57-year-old should have the kind of metabolism that Scan does.
That tall drink of water is going to be 60 years old in 3 years. I do not believe that.
My mouth is agape.
Perfect hair. He's still in great shape. He looks like he could pitch tomorrow if he had to.
JD says Scan's going to be eating fried shrimp in bed like George Costanza. So I was like, please go to bed. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Shrimp. Oh, you got to try this. You really got to try this. She's really good. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. He's a very handsome fella.
I knew somewhere in my mind that Scan was older than me. I just can't accept it.
When I was in college,
I watched him pitch when I was younger.
Bro,
he has to be older than me.
When I was in college and at the Kerry Wood game, Bob Scanlon was in the friggin' bullpen for the Astros. It's insane.
Of course he's older than us. Somehow he has passed us the other direction, Woods.
What a G he is.
He's awesome.
All right. Let's get to it.
All right, let's get to it. Everyone's been wanting to know, where are you guys going to be? We didn't mean to shroud it in mystery, but you did have to dot some I's and cross some T's, but we've got it done. So you can join 97.3 The Fan next Thursday, March 28th, for the Padres home opener versus the San Francisco Giants. We will be broadcasting live from Baja Rick's Cantina, located at the corner of 6th and L in the Gas Lamp. The festivities kick off at 6 a.m. with our show, followed by Annie and Elston from 10 to noon. We'll be giving away tickets to the Padres-Cardinals game on April 2nd. Plus, that will be Blue Moon, Coors Light, Topo Chico specials, and breakfast served from 6 to 10 a.m. That is Thursday, March 28th at Baja Rick's Cantina at the corner of 6th and L in the Gas Lamp. Brought to you by Blue Moon, 2024 Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly. And if you're wondering, Baja Rick's it is the same location where Tin Fish used to be, right there next to the Omni in that courtyard by where the trolley goes by, very close to the ballpark, the Gas Lamp side of the ballpark, just steps away, like a block away from the entrance.
Hard Rock Hotel is right there.
Yeah, right across.
Lou and Mickey's, it's right there on
great
the corner.
Spot. Iconic San Diego spot. You can take pictures. It'll be... It's a tourist spot right there.
You can walk along the trolley line there. There's the walkway, the sidewalk from the Padres parking lots, so you can just cruise right over. And it's going to be as close as we've ever been to the ballpark without being in the ballpark.
For sure.
No question about it. Super excited. I love opening day broadcast. It's just that feeling. Now, you hope that the team, because we have games that count before then. And you hope the team is sitting comfortably around 500 or maybe even 1,000 at that point. You don't want to be 0-2. But it's not going to damper my mood or my spirits. I'm still going to rage on opening day. How about some Irish car bombs, Ben, on opening day like we did many years ago?
Well, remember, I have to go to work.
I don't care. That
After
is not
the
my
game
problem.
still,
That's not my
unlike
problem
you.
at all.
I'll have the TV responsibilities and such, but maybe I can do one Irish car bomb.
Yeah,
I'm not multiple Irish car bombing it.
Okay.
Some good response. Kevin says it's already his pregame spot, and everyone making plans to join us at Baja Rick's next Thursday for our pregame opening day broadcast from 6 to noon. Have us and then Annie and Elston for a couple of hours before Sammy's pregame show. Crossing my fingers. Let me just check, because I think we're 10 days out now, and I know these aren't always completely accurate, but Thursday, partly cloudy, 67 degrees, low of 52.
Okay, it's
according
not
to
even
my 10-day forecast app.
That's not even cold in the morning.
That's not bad at all. I will sign up for that right now compared to what we had last year, which was rain and cold and unpleasant for opening day. This sounds much, much better than last year's opening day. Now, I also do see that the forecast is calling for potential rain on Sunday, which is FanFest. Don't think it's going to stop FanFest, but keep it in mind, you may need a slicker of some sort at Petco Park for our live broadcast this weekend.
Bring your
from
rubbers.
FanFest.
Yeah, wear your rubbers and a slicker.
Yeah. So but that is scheduled for Sunday, and we will be broadcasting live from Petco Park from noon to 2. We'll be kicking things off at FanFest for some live coverage out there as well. Just part of our busy week here that we've got going, Woods.
It's going to be insane. I mean, it truly is going to be.
So I got a pocket full of rubbers, and my homeboys do too.
Yeah, for the rain. All of your homeboys are prepared.
Just in case
it rains.
Are those boots?
Galoshes,
or is that yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't like the word galoshes. I prefer rubbers. And you just put them on over your shoes. You can wear those with a slicker, and you look like the killer from I Know What You Did Last Summer as you show up to our event. Just don't bring any big fish hooks with you. But would love to see all you guys out there. We will hang, we will party, we will do our show live. And last year we had Jake Peavy. Going to be tough to top that, but we're going to work hard to make sure that we get somebody of note and interest down there. Maybe Emma Stone, Paulie, if you want to start working on that.
See what I can do.
Oscar Academy Award winner Emma Stone, big Padres fan. Would love to have her on the program.
Hopefully the location will be
Next to me.
advantageous, being so close to Petco Park.
That's what I thought.
Might help us out as well. So looking forward to it. Going to Baja Rick's next Thursday morning to start the season against the San Francisco Giants here on 97.3 The Fan.
Can't wait, buddy. Cannot wait.
All right,
see you
coming
guys
up
at 7 Miles. See you later.
No, we're not done yet.
No,
we
no,
still have things to
2
do.
hours.
Oh, speaking of
Hit a
7
bit of a
Mile
lull.
tonight, the Beef wants to know, does 7 Mile check you on entry if someone possibly wanted to sneak in some adult beverages in the AM?
Yes.
They do, in fact, have security. It's
Don't
a
do this.
casino. They have security. There will be multiple security guards there. I wouldn't try to pull anything at 7 Mile. Not the best decision.
Look, if you're
Just
tier
be well
one,
behaved.
Yeah,
These are our people.
mind your P's and Q's over there.
7 Mile has been very, very good to the Ben and Woods show.
This
we
isn't
love
a
them
free
dearly.
for all. All right, this is not Coachella. Okay, we're gonna come watch a ball game together. Settle down. All right, you'll be all right. Sneaking in booze. Guy trying to shove a bottle of Jack Daniel's honey down the front of his pants, walking in the door.
What? I'm just blessed. No, that is
Be
a bottle of
let's
Jack
be
Daniels.
well mannered, but enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Unbelievable. Yeah, there's a hotel next door. It's called the Rambler. If you need to run over to your room and grab a cocktail, and they can't really stop you from doing that. But mind your P's and Q's. I don't want any fights. Okay, I don't want anything. I don't want anything crazy happening.
I did not hear anything in the last 24 hours developing the Tommy Pham story at all. Have you?
No.
I mean, it was certainly a topic of conversation on this station all day long, but nothing official, no other insiders who have been advancing that story in the last 24 hours. And I was wondering, do you feel like it could just simply be on hold because the Padres all focus for the next couple of days is on the Dodgers and Korea, and it'll be something that maybe they get done as soon as they get back? Or is it possible that story was not as accurate or as close to maybe fruition as it was reported to be over the weekend by Bob Nightingale?
I mean, you just said it. It's Bob Nightingale throwing some chum out there. I first heard about it in the dugout on Sunday at the Tier 1 game. It's now Tuesday. Nothing's really materialized. And the more I've thought about it, too, some people are posting Tommy's numbers, and I know what his numbers were here. They weren't good. There were a lot of issues. He straight up said, he goes, I don't like hitting at Petco Park. I can't see the ball very well. The batter's eye for him just did not click with him.
That.
Did they? Now
I've been told.
Well, I saw an overhead shot, and it looked the same to me when I saw it. The ivy, like the fake plastic shiny ivy. I don't know if they're planning on making changes to that or not. I've not heard. But I also know with Tommy Pham, I look at it and go, you can't have previous Tommy Pham production if you're going to, sign Tommy Pham. Now, again, it's a 1-year deal more than likely, and let's say it's between $3 and $4 million. That's not going to hamstring. It's not going to kill you. It won't kill you at the deadline. If he comes in and he sucks,
he's always been a tough one because he's been a super solid player just about everywhere else he's gone.
Literally everywhere he's gone, and they.
Is it a Tommy Pham thing? Was it a Padres thing? Like, why did he come here and all of a sudden not produce?
They spoke. Everywhere he's been, New York. Arizona, they spoke glowingly of him, and he is a worker. I mean, he's very, very intense. My idea, though, is reading that book, MVP Machine, again, and I got to a bit of a chapter on Mookie Betts, and they're talking about him, how he made himself into Mookie Betts, right? He was always going to be good, but not as good as he's been. And they mentioned J.D. Martinez in there, and I started reading about J.D. Martinez, and what a absolute, for lack of a better word, hitting nerd he is. He's a guy, Ben, that I feel like isn't going to need a massive ramp-up time based on the work that he put in over the summer at Driveline, based on the work that he constantly puts in on his craft, which is he only has one craft. It's hitting. He doesn't have to worry about fielding. He doesn't have to worry about throwing. He doesn't have to worry about anything else but hitting a baseball and hitting it hard. And he had a good season for the Dodgers last year.
By the way, really good. Yeah. 271, 33 home runs. I didn't know he had 33. 103 runs batted in, 321 OBP, 893 OPS, 134 OPS plus. That's borderline great season.
Yeah, and he's still sitting there. And I think he's a guy, Ben, he's plug and play, straight up, into the DH spot. I know that Manny I know that's an issue right now. I know it is. But Manny is going to be our third baseman, hopefully sooner than later. I would hate to rush him back, but I think JD is probably the better play. Now, I think he's going to cost more money than $3 to $4 million.
So last year he made $10 million on a 1-year deal with the Dodgers. Had a really good season, as we just chronicled. In fact, best season that he's had of his, at least in several years, and his 6th All-Star season.
Yeah.
But he's also turning 37 during this year. And as we've seen, older ball players just haven't commanded the big salaries on the open market. I'm sure he wants to cash in as much as he can, knowing there aren't many paydays left for J.D. Martinez. But at some point, you are going to have to accept maybe something similar. Can the Padres work a J.D. Martinez in at $10 million and stay under the luxury tax? I think they could.
Yep.
I do think there's room. Will he take that? I have no idea.
I have no
That's
idea
between
either.
J.D., his agent, his family.
I believe his agent is Scott Boras.
Oh, is he also a Scott Boras client?
I believe so.
So, and, it depends on what other offers he is getting right now. But I think you're right, Woods, in that whether it's Tommy Pham
Scott Boras
or J.D. Martinez, the Padres need one more bat. A veteran bat that hopefully still has one good season left, whether it's a DH or an outfielder. Outfielder's great, just more versatility there. But J.D. Martinez is probably the best hitter you can get on the market still.
Yeah,
in fact, he's almost certainly the best hitter that's left on the market right now.
He reportedly rejected a 1-year, $14 million contract from the San Francisco Giants this offseason. Now, he may not get that anywhere else. And again, time is running out for some of these players. If they want to get going, season starts next week for every other team, except for this team. It starts now. He's not.
I doubt the Giants are still pursuing him now that they got Chapman and Lee. They spent a lot of money. It's possible he may have to take less than he was already offered, which would be another L for Scott Boras if that happens.
But I'll tell you what I don't get the vibe of with J.D. Martinez. I don't get the Nelson Cruz vibes at all. Like, I don't think he comes here and forgets how to hit. He is such a student and a rat.
Yeah, JR says JD reeks of Matt Carpenter Part 2.
No,
Matt Carpenter had a giant 4-year dead period there where he didn't do anything. JD Martinez The only bad season he's had was the 2020 pandemic year, which doesn't really count. Everything else is OPS plus 134, 117, 128, 139, 173.
Bro, it's not
168. I mean, the guy has been a great hitter for a decade.
The other thing, too, about J.D. Martinez, and I don't know how much it's worth to you, but J.D. Martinez makes everyone in that lineup better. They said that no one likes to talk hitting and theorize about hitting and try new things and help guys more than J.D. Martinez. You get him on your bench, and he's like a hitting coach part 2. I mean, he will have a job in baseball when he's done playing baseball as a hitting coach, I would imagine, if not a manager. But that's a guy that you can afford. You figure it out, man, and get him in. I think he helps this team immensely. He's a professional hitter.
That's a perfect segue to our Tier 1 tour. The LA Dodgers, our final team, coming up next, where the loss of J.D. Martinez may be impossible to overcome this season for the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'll discuss that in our final Tier 1 tour.
How will they replace him?
Team. I have no idea what they're going to do. Well, we'll look into it. We'll see what they've done in the offseason, if any moves at all. I'm not sure. We'll check, and then we'll let you know what we've discovered in our research on the LA Dodgers when we come back with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
do this. I feel dirty and cheap. We skipped him last year, which I thought was a good bit.
We did. We didn't even say anything about it. We just did our entire MLB preview.
And didn't mention them.
And never mentioned them
I said, you know what?
year.
Let's be pros. Okay, let's be pros. If you do that, you're giving them a little more oxygen. Even though this is actually literally giving them oxygen. So, you know what I'm saying. It makes sense in my head, Paulie. At least it did when I said, let's do this.
And now that we're here, you're like,
Los Angeles Dodgers, our final stop on the Tier 1.
Stop.
Ben, you do a great
tour.
job.
As you may have heard, they had a fairly eventful and busy offseason. In fact, I've chronicled on my notes here, just as it's gone along, just the more significant moves that they've made. Shohei Ohtani signs a 10-year, $700 million contract. Dodgers acquire
Dave Roberts,
Tyler Glasnow, and Manuel Margot from the Rays for Ryan Pepio and Johnny DeLuca. Dodgers signed Yoshinobu Yamamoto to a 12-year, $325 million contract.
325.
Dodgers signed Teoscar Hernandez to a 1-year, $23.5 million contract. Dodgers acquired a couple of prospects from the Cubs for Michael Busch and Yency Almonte. Dodgers signed James Paxton to a 1-year deal. Dodgers agreed to a 1-year contract with Clayton Kershaw. Dodgers signed Kike Hernandez to a $4 million deal and trade Manuel Margot to the Twins. Those are just the notable moves this offseason for the Los Angeles Dodgers, who spent well over $1 billion in free agency to try to figure out how a team that wins 100 games every year can actually win the games that matter in October.
Imagine having this as your starting rotation, and bear with me for a moment. So this is your starting rotation. Walker Buehler, Tony Gonsolin, Clayton Kershaw, Dustin May, and Emmett Sheehan. You look at that rotation and go, oh, okay, that's not too shabby. Those are the guys that are injured. That's the starting
full
five.
rotation of injured pitchers. That would be one of the better rotations in the league.
Would not be bad at all.
Were it healthy.
So right now, at least on Fangraphs, it's got them projected. I don't know who their fifth starter is going to be. I saw it was Gavin Stone. But then who is their...
Jordan Montgomery, probably.
Right. They got Glasnow, and they got...
$25.
Yamamoto, and they got Bobby Miller and Gavin Stone.
Where's Paxton? I thought they signed him.
They did sign him. I don't see him on here. Maybe he's not in their rotation.
I don't know. But
it's an embarrassment of riches, but what it does is, we talked about it ad nauseum this offseason, is it puts the target squarely on their back. And we had that target last year, except the money we spent was dumb. The money they spent was smart. And now everyone, and Mookie Betts, we had those comments a few weeks ago about this being everyone's World Series. He's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong. Everyone wants to take down the Dodgers. And they have for a while. But this has really been the first year, Ben, that the Dodger fan cannot fall back on the, well, listen, I mean, we draft, we develop, they're all homegrown. No, they went out and they spent $1 billion to get the best player in the world in Shohei Ohtani, and then traded for and signed a bunch of other guys as well. So it doesn't matter how you win a championship as long as you win one. I've never cared. I don't care what my roster looks like. I care about raising the banner of a World Series championship, and they're a bad October team. They have been a bad October team. Do the moves that they made help put them over the hump in October? I honestly don't know. I really don't know, because Tyler Glasnow is not a big innings eater. I mean, honestly, like if you got 100 innings out of that guy, it'd be special.
But if he's
healthy
hot
in the playoffs,
and healthy in October,
he
could be
filthy.
a huge difference maker.
No question about it. Yamamoto has never thrown a pitch at the big league level. So we will see how that plays out. His stuff is admittedly disgustingly filthy. He did get hit around the other day. He struck out the side in the first and then got hit around. But again, it's spring training. He could have said in the second, hey, that all felt good. Let's work on the splitter and sweeper now. You know what I mean? You never know what they're working on. Are there holes in their lineup? Absolutely. The bottom half of their lineup with Outman, Hayward, and Lux, there's holes there. But having Gavin Lux, who cannot field and throw, as your 9-hole hitter, one thing he can do is hit. He can hit. So I think, they're going to be really, really good. They're going to win 100-plus games. And then can they turn the page and turn it up in October? We'll see.
No one's denying that Shohei Ohtani is great, and he is probably going to put up big offensive numbers. Fangraphs projecting him for a 266 average, 39 homers, 548 slugging, 368 on base, which is great. And you paid $700 million to get that. However, as we just mentioned, the Dodgers let JD Martinez go because they don't have a spot for a designated hitter now that they have Shohei Ohtani there. he hit 33 home runs last year. He had a great season. So, yeah, Shohei Ohtani can improve on that somewhat.
Sure.
But it's not like you're going from 0 home runs to Shohei Ohtani. You're replacing a guy who had a terrific season last year with another terrific player.
Yeah, and listen, if it was a one-year deal, sure, but they're banking on Shohei, the pitcher / hitter / world beater superstar that he absolutely is and has been. And, this year, certainly, they're going to be a little bit hamstrung in what they can do with him. Next year, allegedly, the shackles come off and he's back on the mound. That's a dirty-ass team. That's even dirtier. So it's almost like they're getting an extra free agent next year by adding Shohei Ohtani, the pitcher. Look, Padres fans, I wouldn't concern yourself too much with what the Dodgers are doing in the regular season. They are going to be filthy. They're going to be a well-oiled machine. But they always are. They always have been. Nothing's going to change. Maybe they'll win 5 extra games, 6 extra games. They won 100 games last year in with an injury-plagued season. They always find a way to do it. So don't worry about them.
And one thing that the Dodgers can't really control that is going to really go a long way into determining the final outcome of their season is how a couple of these pitchers come back from injury.
No doubt.
Will Walker Buehler look like Walker Buehler at any point this season when he comes back? Can Clayton Kershaw come back and do anything still at this point? And remember, they also lost a pretty good pitcher, through problematic but talented in Julio Urias,
Correct.
who is no longer part of their team as well. So that's a subtraction from a guy who was a major part at the top of the rotation the last few years.
And I'll be honest with you guys. If we're talking Padres v. Dodgers, we don't really match up well with them. They're pretty right-handed heavy. We are very right-handed heavy. They have 2 lefties in their bullpen. Vesia, who's absolutely washed, and Ryan Yarbrough, who's really good still. But he's projected at almost a 5 ERA, Ben. So, look, if you're a Dodger fan, you're really excited about your offseason, and you should be. But you also know, we have an interesting scenario at shortstop. Can Mookie Betts at 31 move to the most physically demanding position in the infield and do it well and continue to mash? That's a problem. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. It's such an overthink on their part, in my opinion. With the lineup that they have, that they're running out there every day, put a good shortstop in short. Let him hit 230 with 8 home runs. Who cares? Keep Mookie healthy and happy. But they're like, no. We're gonna jam this thing in there, and he could be phenomenal. He could be, but it's gonna take a toll on him. So they're in win now mode as they usually are, and I expect them to win an absolute buttload of regular season games, maybe even 110, 115.
29 shows, 29 teams. Our Tier 1 tour now complete. Get you ready for the Padres opener against the Dodgers coming up at 3:07 this morning from Seoul, South Korea. All right, when we come back, I want to get back to this question. Maybe invite your phone calls. Tommy Pham or J.D. Martinez?
Or what about Brandon Belt?
Brandon Belt. Throw that in.
Me.
And, all of them come probably at different price points. I would think Pham's a little cheaper, more versatile in the outfield. Martinez, maybe a better hitter. Belt, maybe a better fit in terms of left-handedness, but also getting older and possibly on the decline. If you had spot for one more of those guys, and knowing, hey, J.D. Martinez might keep you from doing anything else, Pham might leave you with more flexibility, who do you go after if you're A.J. Preller? Give us a call, 833-288-0973. We'll discuss the last move, potentially, for the Padres when we come back here on 97.3 The Fan. You can tune in to 97.3 The Fan this Wednesday and Thursday. Yes, tomorrow and Thursday, very early, as Soapy Joe's presents the games from Seoul, South Korea. Listen to Jesse Agler and Soapy Joe's Chief Bubble Officer, Tony Gwynn Jr., call the action. And Soapy Joe's also the official sponsor of our Padres and Seoul, South Korea watch party Wednesday morning. That is this coming morning at 3 a.m. at 7 Mile Casino. It's all brought to you by Soapy Joe's Car Wash. Good, clean, fun.
Your favorite kind.
So my other favorite thing is these, I love hypothetical sports discussions. I know not your favorite, but you've kind of gotten over it a little bit.
A little bit.
It's a bit of the job here is in talking sports. And today's, this segment's hypothetical for you to react to is if the Padres have one more move in them, and I think they have the money to potentially make one more move, and they want to add one more bat, of the three main guys who are left, Tommy Pham, J.D. Martinez, or Brandon Belt, which one do you go after? Given all things considered, position, history,
ability,
injury history, cost, potential cost, how they fit in with the current Padres roster, and you can only afford one of them and potentially stay under the luxury tax. And I don't even know you can on some of these guys. So all of that, into the pot, stir it all together. Which guy are you going after if you're AJ Preller of those three? That's the question.
Yeah, we're going to play Junior GM.
Junior GM. We're going to take your phone calls. We got callers on the line, 833-288-0973. We'll go right out to you after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, fortunately, no big surprises on our roads, meaning, of course, you're still going to see the usual slowing in the usual spots. But yeah, no real trouble spots to contend with. Just a little wood debris reported in two right lanes on southbound 5, just past H Street. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Again, pros and cons. Tommy Pham can play the outfield, a position of need, versatile, has been a good clutch playoff performer, and is probably a little bit cheaper than the other two. For J.D. Martinez, coming off a really good season, just a consistent hitter. DH, which you need, but not as versatile in the field. And Brandon Belt, left-handed, has had some good seasons. Last year was pretty good. The year before was not, but some injury troubles. First base, he can DH, do both of those things, but not quite as versatile in the field on the three choices. And that's what we're asking you out there. So let's go out to our phones. We got Terry joining us this morning here on Ben & Woods. Good morning, Terry.
Or if there's somebody we haven't thought of.
Yeah, please.
Morning, guys.
Morning. Buddy.
Well, I got to go with Tommy Pham. I've said it before, but he addresses a need in the outfield, and he can do a DH, but he also is cheaper, so you can get Trevor Bauer on the minimum and get him in there for your starting pitching.
Pass. Hard pass on the old Trevor Bauer circus. But Tommy Pham, your point is taken. What? So Profar then becomes what? Just a bench guy, bench piece.
Yeah, which is what he probably should be.
I mean, Jurickson Profar is a solid fourth outfielder.
Yeah.
Remember, Jurickson had like a negative 1.9 WAR last season. I think he could do better with the Padres than he did with the Rockies, but if you're counting on 130-plus starts from Jurickson Profar, you may be setting yourself up for a big disappointment and giving up a lot of offense in the outfield.
I'm not trying to get blocked by Jurickson Profar again, so I say give him 162 starts.
I think he's going to have a much better season this year.
MVP potential for Jurickson Profar?
I really am expecting it at this point.
As am I.
All right, let's go to Jed. You're next up on Ben & Woods. Good morning, Jed.
Good morning, boys.
Hey,
How
buddy.
are you doing?
Good, man.
Hey, so although Tommy Pham does address the outfield need, I would go with J.D. Martinez.
Yeah.
And the reason being, not only does he bring a ton of production at the plate, his knowledge of hitting and what he shares and gives to his teammates is far beyond what anybody else of those three options can give.
Yeah.
And teams in the past have said he's basically like a hitting coach that gets to go up and face the pitcher.
Yeah, he's
the way
incredible.
He breaks down his at-bats and pitchers, it's unbelievable.
I think he's charted every pitch that he's ever seen. Every pitch or every AB he's ever had in the big leagues. He keeps like a notebook and probably an iPad now, but he writes it down. He's an absolute rat. Like I said, reading this book, MVP Machine, it's crazy to think about how these guys have revamped their swings, how they think about, talk about, obsess about hitting all the time. And he's one of those guys who could go up to Manny and go, hey, this is what you're doing wrong. You know what I mean? And he did it. He's done it. And they talked about a story in that book, and I think he did it to I think he did it to Mookie, and he was like, "Hey, this is wrong." And Mookie listened, and Mookie Betts became Mookie Betts.
Do you think he's lowered to a realistic price for the Padres?
So the latest I saw on him was that
I would love to make that happen.
he likes the idea of playing in the NL East. So the Mets have been rumored to be in on him. You'd hate to certainly lose him to the Mets, who I can't decide if they're going anywhere or not this year. I just can't make up my mind if the Mets are a good team, if they're a bad team, if they're mediocre. I can't decide yet. I mean, there's just too much that's unknown, but he makes them better, certainly.
If you could guarantee pretty much the same numbers as last year, he'd be hard to turn down.
100%.
33 home runs, that would be an enormous difference in the Padres lineup at DH. He is 37, though.
36, yeah.
He's going to be 37 during the season. At some point, those numbers will decline. Will it be this year?
Why not here, as everybody else does?
That's always a concern, obviously. Here's the other thing. There's no reason, if you're A.J. Preller, even if you're on a mandate, got to get under that luxury tax number. You don't have to start the season under the luxury tax number. Now, you can put yourself in a tough position because if you're a little bit over the luxury tax and we got to trade someone at some point to shed some salary, that may not be great. If you're playing well and you don't want to give up someone that's useful, you may have to attach a prospect or two to shed a salary at some point for a guy who's not performing well. There is a way to do it, though. You don't have to start the season. It's where you end the season on the luxury tax. So you could go over a little bit now and deal with the fallout later in the season, depending on how things are going.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Sam is next up here on 97.3 The Fan. Sam, welcome.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
Good, buddy.
Ready for the season. Let's go.
Yes, let's get it.
Let's get Brandon Belt.
Okay.
I think we need a lefty. And that's really the crux of it all. We need another lefty. I think putting Jake at first is great. I think we need somebody who could spell Jake.
Sure.
At times, if we need to get Manny off his feet, you move Kim to whatever. You get more flexibility by adding Brandon Belt, who can take over at first, than we could anywhere else.
I'm surprised he's still looking for a job. I am. Professional hitter, world champion, by all accounts, really, really great teammate. He's funny. I've seen some of his interviews. He seems like a really good fit in any clubhouse. I'm surprised he's out of a job.
He's missed about 40% of the games over the last 3 seasons with a variety of
mostly back
older guy injuries. He's a year younger than J.D. Martinez, though, and he did have a good year last year. A very solid year for the Blue Jays last year with 19 homers and an OPS plus of 136. Padres would take that. Absolutely a left-handed. Now, yes, they need a left-hander in the lineup, but if he only plays first base, he can DH as well. You're taking out a left-hander when you put him in with Jake Cronenworth there, unless you're bumping Jake to the outfield. Or they didn't do that, though, during spring training. So the perfect solution is you need an amalgam of all three. Yeah. You need a left-handed outfielder that can hit power like J.D. Martinez can. You really kind of want to just put them all into one, stuff them into one package, and turn them into one player.
J.D. Martinez that can play left field. Or
of course, that player would be very expensive.
Power-hitting Tommy Pham.
and outside the Padres' price range. Corey wants to chime in on our discussion here. Corey, we're playing Brandon Belt, J.D. Martinez, Tommy Pham, or other. What do you think?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, give me about 30 seconds here. I'm going to tell you why you get Belt. Belt, last 4 seasons, 140 OPS plus split, over 500 slugging percentage. Way better than J.D. Martinez. J.D. Martinez, only 121 OPS plus. Tommy Pham, last 4 years, only a 98 OPS plus. And guys, go back to 2021, that 12 and 36 meltdown, Pham splits. He was only hitting 180 with a 340 slugging percentage. He is one of the reasons why they collapsed for those last 48 games. Belt, best-handed, left-handed bat it would be in the Padres lineup better than Cronenworth.
Good call. It's a great call, man.
Yeah, your numbers are absolutely right. Tommy Pham had a dreadful second half of 2021, as did many other Padres. But to be fair, he's also one of the reasons the Arizona Diamondbacks went to the World Series last year, because he was so clutch down the stretch after he was traded to Arizona. What do you put more weight on? The The results with the Padres, where he'd be coming back to, or the more recent results with the Arizona Diamondbacks? I don't know the answer to that question. That's the mystery with Tommy Pham. I don't know which Tommy Pham you'd be getting. I do know that with either of the other guys, you're getting a slightly older. Although, how old's Tommy Pham now?
Somebody said, was that screaming Eno Saris right there on the phone? I don't know how old Pham is. I can look real quick.
But I think he's maybe 35. So, I mean, not much younger than the other guys as
36.
well. 36. So he's older than Brandon Belt,
We're
actually.
over here arguing about three guys with a combined age of 115. So, I mean, this is where we are. This is where we are.
Well,
Ready to get these games
down.
going.
Last year, the Padres signed two guys with a combined age of around 115, and it didn't work out so well. At least this is three, adding up to 115. Let's see. We got Doug on the line. You're next up. Good calls this morning. Doug, welcome to 97.3 The Fan.
Hello.
Doug, how are you, buddy? You're live on the
Pretty
radio.
good.
Good.
I got one that's a little off
right.
base, but the one solution is you need a bench coach.
A bench coach is an interesting. Does he help contribute to wins?
Well, in a way, my bench coach would be Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. Woo!
I think that would. Yeah, I mean, imagine that after every home run, you get that. That'll pump up.
They get it after every walk already at Petco Park.
That's true. I think Mike Schilt has a bench coach. His name's AJ Preller. If I'm not mistaken, that's probably
he technically. I don't know if anyone is officially the bench coach for the
not.
Padres.
There
There's an associate manager and there's a game strategy coordinator. And the game strategy coordinator and someone runs the bench like a bench coach, but I don't know that they actually have one. So there is room for Ric Flair.
He's getting up there in age as well. His body's kind of broken down on him.
Ric Flair.
It's not prime Ric Flair. People are clearly huffing paint this morning, calling into Ben and Woods.
So speaking of the make your choice game, I posted.
Well, who do you want, by the way? I want to hear from you.
I think you go aggressive and go JD Martinez, and even if you have to push that salary cap, you deal with it later in the year. Hey, if things go poorly, dump someone. You can save some money. It's fine. If things go well,
dump JD Martinez.
You'll figure it out. You can attach. You have enough prospects left.
Yep.
You had to attach a prospect to get someone to take the salary of a guy who was struggling. You could still get under the luxury tax. That would be unpalatable, but it would be doable. And I'll tell you what, if the problem the Padres have is they're playing so well at the All-Star break and they need to attach a prospect to kind of save on some salary to get under the luxury tax, it's a good problem to have at this point, that they are doing so very well that they just need to, they can't afford to get rid of anybody, so they have to attach a prospect to a bad contract.
Sure, it happens all the time.
All right, so I posted yesterday, money aside, even though it's not, would you rather have the next 2 years of Blake Snell or Dylan Cease? Now that Blake Snell is going to the Giants and Dylan Cease is coming to the Padres. And the reason why I said money aside is that I really didn't think it would be close. If you counted in the fact that Dylan Cease is only making $8 million this year and a little bit more next year on arbitration, and Blake's now going to be making $62 million over those 2 years with the Giants if he opts in. But even if it was everything else equal financially, who would you pick? And over 2,000 votes right now on the poll, 69% say Dylan Cease, 31% say Blake Snell. All things being equal, not even including the salary.
Well, I mean, one guy's been working on his craft. Not that Blake hasn't been, but one guy seems on the rise a little bit. And Blake is a bit of a mystery still, and I think he's going to be a mystery as we know. It takes him a minute to get settled in. But listen, the fire are to his feet right now. He's working essentially off of a potential 1-year deal. This is could be a walk year for him as well. It sucks winning 2 Cy Youngs and still having to go out and prove yourself again, but that's where we are in the career of Blake Snell.
Remember, Dylan Cease is still pursuing that first big contract.
Yeah.
He's got all the motivation in the
100%.
world to have 2 great seasons for the Padres and hit free agency after 2025 and make the big cash. But the point that most people made is Dylan Cease is about 5 years younger, likely entering his prime. And while Snell may be in his prime right now, with pitchers, you just kind of never know when it starts declining. And there's just a better chance that Dylan Cease has a better 2 years than Blake Snell does.
Sure.
And again, a lot of people said, well, why not both? Well, I mean, if money was no object, sure.
Yeah.
Both would have been
Nasty.
a great option as well in the starting rotation, but this was the either-or question, and Padres fans spoke overwhelmingly that they think Dylan Cease is the better option without money included. I mean, with money, it would have to be 95 to 100%.
That's weird because
at
a
this
week
point.
ago I saw so many people saying it was a massive overpay for Dylan Cease.
Oh, well, prospect-wise, but money-wise, it's perfect. I mean, and again, we'll see if it's an overpay, but I still love that deal. We didn't talk about our beloved Drew Thorpe yesterday. Baseball gods did not shine upon
All right,
him.
we'll give you the update on Drew Thorpe's White Sox spring training debut. And Paulie will get some headlines in the Reindl Report coming up, including an update on Olympic SEX. Next on 97.3 The Fan.
SEX? What are you, 4 years old?
So, yeah, there no longer are players, but we always like to keep track on former Padres after they move on. Final hour of Ben and Woods here, brought to you by your San Diego County, the UPS store. Your local San Diego County, the UPS store locations are hosting a shred event from March 27th through March 30th. 50% off shredding services. Visit the UPSstore.com for the location nearest you. See store for details. And Drew Thorpe, who was traded to the White Sox as part of the Dylan Cease deal, and was excited about a real opportunity that he wasn't getting, as we told you yesterday with the San Diego Padres. Just much better over there in Glendale than it was in Peoria for him. Made his spring debut for the Southsiders, and Woods didn't go so well.
Did not go well at all. He gave up, that's a subscriber only. I think he gave up 8 runs, gave up 3 home runs. Did not make it very far in the game. And
this was after he had given up no runs for the Padres, right? In 7 innings, I think, over the spring.
Yeah, he said, just kind of try to flush it. It's baseball, as happens. I think he's absolutely right. It's happened to the best of them out there. And I like Drew Thorpe. I really did. But yeah, East County Chris, this is exactly what I was just going to say. We started Thorpe against the A's, then traded him a masterclass by AJ. Yeah, throw him up against the A's, let him dominate, and then
I hate how true that is.
It's really, really, really interesting how that works out there. But so yeah, rough first start for him. Maybe some nerves, and new team and all that, wanting to do too much and impress and all that. But yeah, so interesting. The Torpedo got torpedoed yesterday.
Does it make you a bad person if that makes you happy as a Padres fan to see him struggle after he leaves?
A bad person. That's interesting. I don't wish ill will on him at all.
No, I wasn't wishing. I wasn't even thinking about him, really.
I didn't care. It's
just a spring start. It doesn't really matter. But when I hear him, it doesn't give me like pain. Oh, I feel so bad for Drew.
No,
bad start. No. I feel like
that's
better with them than with us.
That's
kind of like it's a bit of a sense of relief. I feel okay about it.
Sure. I mean, I still think
now I feel guilty that I feel okay about.
No,
that.
I still think he's going to be a really good pitcher. Now, if he has that outing before the Dylan Cease convos come to the end, do they look at that and say what happened there? Oh, don't worry, it's no big deal. We had him working on a knuckleball and it wasn't working, so it's fine. It's just a problem for us. We're good.
If Dylan Cease leads the Padres to a World Series championship in 2024,
you're not gonna miss.
I think we owe Drew Thorpe a ring.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, he's 100%. The MVP for the Padres, if that's the case.
Yeah, big part.
All right, let's get to some headlines from Paul Reindl. It is time for the Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
Saw everybody in baseball that covers the sport talking about Bruce Meyer, who I admittedly was not super familiar with, but the Players Association, they're not happy with Bruce Meyer. He's what is his official title here? The executive.
He's Tony Clark's
director,
right-hand man.
Yeah.
At the Players Union.
Tony Clark is the president of the Players Association. He's the executive director, is Bruce Meyer. And the Players Association is calling for him to be removed. They're not happy with how he has been running his job. And I saw Jeff Passan wrote about it.
Evan Drellick yesterday.
Evan Drellick. It's like if Passan and Drellick are writing about you,
you're dead.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts if you guys have looked into this story a little bit more than I have.
The word that I saw was mutiny. And when you see the word mutiny, you're like, oh boy, this is not going to end well for Bruce Meyer.
Had the name been replaced with Tony Clark, that would have made a little bit more sense. Everybody knows he's the president. He's the guy running the Players Association. So I was like, well, what the hell did this guy do?
72 player representatives from across the majors and minors called in for this call. 72 player reps, major leagues, minor leagues, called in and said this is not the right guy for this job. This is not right. And I wonder. So Meyer said they were talking about they threw back to like an old scenario that happened with Scott Boras and his influence on what happens with player salaries. And he defended Scott Boras. I don't know what their major beef is with him, but I mean Tony Clark as the face of the players. If they don't like your number 2, guess what's happening? They're coming for you too.
Yeah, this is also a shot across the bow of Tony Clark as well. Now they were unhappy first of all with Meyer, who negotiated the pandemic season essentially when they had to give up a ton of salary because there's no fans there and it was the shorter season and kind of everyone was over a barrel at that point and players weren't happy at that point. Then things started, they got through the lockout. Things seemed okay. Some big contracts were given out. But there's been like $1 billion less in free agent signings this offseason. It's really slowed down, and they're wondering whether they got a bad deal. What's going on with the owners? Is their Players Association truly serving its purpose? Now, baseball players are also spoiled because their Players Association has done so well for them in the past, like way better than other sports in terms of guaranteed contracts and escalating salaries. It's no salary cap. They've done so well. Their standards are pretty impossibly high. And when the owners get any semblance of a victory, like, yeah, we're not going to pay quite that much for Blake Snell this offseason, all of a sudden it looks like a major catastrophe for the players union. And now they're holding Bruce Meyer responsible for that. Is it fair? I don't know. But that's how these things go when it comes to labor management negotiations.
And reading some of this article, it just and talking to people in the game, the lockout is imminent. The next whenever the CBA expires, it's
after 2025,
6,
I believe.
Yeah, it's imminent. So we need to start preparing content now because there will be a lockout coming again, and it's not great for baseball. They continue to step on their own, at every turn. But you look, there's a legitimate beef. There is a legitimate beef when the salaries have come down that much in an off season. So it's gonna be interesting how it plays out. But I from everybody I've talked to in the game says, lockout will be here for sure.
Cool,
super.
Looking forward to that.
Very cool. Lockout content on Ben and Woods. See what John Bon Jovi's up to in his living room.
All right. In the NBA, we had a very notable jersey swap.
Saw this. I don't know that we can.
We can talk
very
about it.
Careful how you present it.
I mean, look, it was
Did you
two
see this, Ben?
rookie basketball players.
Okay.
And this happens all the time. You see superstars or fellow rookies or anything like that after a football game, soccer match, NBA game. They'll swap jerseys on the field or on the court, and it happened over the weekend. This was Sunday night. Orlando Magic and the Toronto Raptors, and you had Anthony Black and rookie Grady Dick. Those are their names.
Grady Dick's a good player. I know that.
Jerseys. And the Orlando Magic had their social media team post about it before realizing that the players, again, Anthony Black and Grady Dick,
just holding up their jersey, smiling,
arranged themselves in a particular order
and they
with their last names on their jerseys.
They were talking about it before. This will be a great
yes.
bit.
Posting available for the Orlando Magic.
Right
posted
after.
just a few days ago, and sure enough, it's there. It's on LinkedIn.
That would have been sweet. Ben, the social media coordinator, would not have gotten the joke and just would have taken what he thought was a touching moment of two players that battled against each other, showing their jerseys. And the next thing you know, you're out of a job.
I mean, I love cleverness. And
yeah,
the screams of cleverness.
Yeah.
I always used to enjoy.
I just like seeing good basketball players hanging out, being friends like that.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know what you guys
when the pitcher and the catcher, known as the battery.
Yeah.
And remember when Bud Black and Steve Decker were
Black
the
and
batteries.
Decker.
The battery
Genius.
was Black and Decker.
Genius.
I loved that. That was fantastic.
Oh, it titillates you for sure. You love that. Yeah. There's been some good ones over the years.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly how I felt when I saw that for the first time.
Him just sitting there watching it, keeping score, going, Black and Decker. Unbelievable. This is incredible.
They're so clever.
These guys. Is unbelievable. Who lost
Black
that
and Decker,
game?
they make batteries, so they were the battery.
And
Black and
NY
Decker.
Mike says all this after a 15-point defeat, both smiling fools.
The
Mike,
Magic won
Mike,
111 to 96.
They're doing a bit. I mean, you can't, the game's over. They're doing a bit, and the bit itself is a really good bit.
And then the Magic, their social media posts, it's the picture of it just says class of 23.
They knew
I
what
don't
they were
know.
doing.
I don't know if they weren't thinking about it or what, but anyways, we'll move on. The Olympics, this is kind of sportsy for my final story here, but Ben, maybe, I guess, cover your ears because you teased this by spelling the word.
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, this
is a very
this is
sportsy
actually a very
story.
sportsy third story.
You should be excited.
For you. It's legitimate.
You can say sex. You're a grown man. You're almost 50. You can say
I'm on
sex.
the radio, though.
So what?
You just
sex,
want to be careful.
sex.
So we are getting ready for the 2024
God.
Olympics.
What is this, the Amish morning show? The Mormon morning show? Sex. Say it. Say it. Say it.
Well, I mean, it's fine.
Don't start making your reasonings. Well, technically, I'm of the male sex. Just say the word.
I'll think about it.
Oh my God!
All right, it is 6 o'clock in the morning.
He's squirming right now.
So uncomfortable. So the 2024 Paris Olympics taking place this summer, end of July through mid-August. Now, if you remember the last Olympics, we had the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, and there was a intimacy ban at Olympic Village, is what they called it.
Yes.
It was not allowed.
No
and
intimacy allowed.
The Olympics have lifted the intimacy ban.
I knew I should have been an Olympian. I'd be a really good one.
Had I known.
Yeah, but that was COVID. That was why they had the intimacy ban. It wasn't necessarily directly related to no intimacy, right? Or was it?
I don't know if it was or not.
Yeah.
It was COVID, yeah.
I
They
assume.
didn't want people sneaking in other people's rooms.
Because apparently these are some horny,
they're
horny athletes.
They're top of their game athletes. They're all attractive with good bodies and young, of course.
The director of the Olympic Village in Paris says that the village will be stocked with over 300,000 condoms.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's this year. Back on. Intimacy back on in Paris this year.
Well, it is a romantic city also.
It is very romantic. Very.
City of love.
It is the city of lights and the city of love. It's beautiful. There's something about when you get there, it makes you want to be intimate.
They divide, the Olympics by countries. Each team is kind of its own sect. So when you get a bunch of them together, they have lots of different sects.
I can't believe I got to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning for this.
With this guy.
Watch a game. This dude.
Well.
Now, is there any truth to the long-standing discussion about whether intimacy impacts performance positively or negatively? Coaches have had theories for a long time.
They say, it's...
Mostly it's you don't want to because you want to have all that pent-up energy at your disposal.
Sex legs is a real thing.
But I don't think scientifically either way has ever been proven. It's possible some people perform worse if they're all frustrated.
Yeah, if you're relaxed, maybe.
Could be better in certain sports.
Loosey-goosey. Maybe golf would be good.
A little more loosey-goosey.
Just kind of like, you're like, oh, man, I'm tired. It's a good sesh,
I think baseball would be the best.
Except for the running. It happened to me. I hit third. My buddy still laughed at it to this day. I hit third and my legs gave out.
You did?
Pre-game, yeah. Because
there's not that much running in baseball.
How far?
I went first to third, and I was trying to score.
was
And I
this
scored earlier.
night before or
no, morning of?
Morning of.
Yeah, morning of. Hit third base, my legs gave out.
Like, I wouldn't do it before a basketball game.
In front of my dugout.
I just don't
and
think
they're like,
it's that big of a
before a
deal.
soccer match.
It's like when you give blood. Eat a cookie, have some orange juice. You're gonna. I mean, you should be able to recover from that.
I mean, you don't know how I do it, so there you go. I mean, maybe yours is fine. Maybe you're good to go after, but I'm not. I was tired. My legs gave out on me. First to third.
You're that exhausted.
I was exhausted. Well, I was trying to score, and I hit third, and my legs just gave out, and they died. It was at Hoover High.
You were
I remember exactly what happened.
You were trying to score, and you were unable to score because you had scored earlier.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Keegan said that's a case of the newborn Bambi legs. Yeah, that's how I felt. I hit the. I got nothing left. So that was a good time back in my youth. It was a good time. So what's the story?
Were you
what's the
using
point of
your legs like a lot?
No, but I mean, just put in some work,
Right, but not in your legs.
But I just put in some work in my body. I was just tired. Like my legs gave out on me. You don't have to do squats for your legs to
give out. Were you able to lift a bat?
Yeah, I hit. I mean, I hit.
Hit
I got on
fine,
base.
you couldn't
Hit
run.
fine, but boy, that
affected your legs more than your arms.
Trying to go first to home was not a fun experience. And if my buddies are listening that were in that game at Hoover High, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because I hit third and they just went like spaghetti. Just gave out, and I hit the deck, and they laughed at me so hard. And that was my
Was it
my
not
excuse.
because that was 180 feet?
No, it wasn't. It was because I was absolutely exhausted. What's the point of that story? That sex is now allowed at the Olympics
Yes,
again?
that was Paulie's point.
All right.
Yes.
All right, Paulie, good job. Reindl Report is done.
Chris says, Woodsy, I dated a former Amish girl, and they even say the word sex a lot. So there you go. You're less than an Amish. You're less than Amish.
They just do it in their buggy.
That's right.
All right, we'll come back. We've got those Jim Norton tickets to give away coming to Belly Up, the comedian. And I just got what is always one of my favorite little news drops of the year, pre-Masters Golf Tournament news drop.
You love this.
I do love this. The Masters Champions dinner menu is out.
Let's parse it out.
It's coming up next
Perfect
with Ben and
time
Woods
for it.
after traffic here on 97.3 The Pham. Now, Reindl Report's story involving the jersey exchange between Grady Dick and Anthony Black reminded us of one of the great NIL stories we had a few months ago. It was the Iowa State football team, and they had 4 players. They had Miles Purchase, Tommy Moore, Tommy Hammond, and Caleb Bacon all lined up.
You loved this one so much.
And together it read Purchase, Moore, Hammond, Bacon. And it was the Iowa Pork Producers Association that sponsored that one and paid the kids to line up in front of a big ham steak and a big pile of bacon with their jerseys on. Clever name, wordplay.
Purchase,
is what I'm here for.
Moore,
Hammond, Bacon. That was genius. Absolutely genius.
But Mike Schilt would have loved it too.
You and the skipper.
All right.
Ben and Mike Schilt have the same sense of humor.
Exact same.
I know. I fear.
Me too.
Speaking of ham and bacon, perfect transition to the story I just saw tweeted out today that Jon Rahm, the defending champion, the green jacket winner last year at the Masters, since gone on to the Live Tour, but will be back at Augusta National. The Champions Dinner going to be held on April 9th, just ahead of this year's tournament, and it will be a Spanish feast that Jon Rahm is serving for his fellow champions of the Masters, starting with Iberian ham, acorn-fed Iberian ham with cured pork loin. These are just the tapas. Some Idiazabal cheese with black truffle, Spanish omelet, onions, confit potatoes. That's the tortilla de patatas. Chistorra con patata, spicy Basque chorizo with potato. Lentejas estofadas, which is Mama Ram's classic lentil stew. And a croqueta de pollo, which is a creamy chicken fritters and confit potatoes. Those are just the appetizers. Then the first course, ensalada de zanguro, which is
salad.
A Basque crab salad.
Basque?
Also Basque, like Basque, the Basque region of Spain.
Okay.
Then the
I thought
main...
you said bass.
Bass.
Like a bass salad.
Basque and crab.
salad.
No, just Basque
Did you
crab.
say there's bass
No
in
bass.
here?
The main course is a choice of chuletón a la parrilla, which is a Basque ribeye with tudela lettuce and piquillo peppers, or you can get the rodaballo al pilpil, which is a turbo, that's a fish, with Navarra white asparagus. And then for dessert, the mil hojas de crema innata, a puff pastry cake, custard, and chantilly cream. Woods, there's your master's dinner in honor of Jon Rahm.
It really gave me pea shivers to listen to you read all of that. It really did.
Lots of ham.
Lots of pork.
Lots of pork and ham. That's a staple of Spanish cuisine. But absolutely delicious and obviously reflective of his heritage and culture. Now, I don't think he's won any of his live tournaments since he's left.
Has he not?
He's been in contention a couple of times, but no one really cares.
Still has made $300 million.
Making plenty of money. We'll see how he does when he returns for the first major of the year, which is just a couple of weeks away at the Masters.
You know, I found out yesterday that blew me away. My sweet wife, Hannah, said to me, and this is completely out of left field. She goes, "Dang it, another year I didn't get Masters tickets for you." And I go, "What?" And she goes, "Oh, I've been signing up for like 5 years."
Oh.
And I go, "You have?" And she goes, "Yeah." I go, "You've never told me." She goes, "Yeah, I wanted to be a surprise." I go, "Babe, there's been people on that list for like 50 years. I go, "I'm not going to hold out any hope. If I got 2, who would I bring?"
Bring me just for the bit.
Just for the bit.
Like, just for the bit.
It would literally murder him.
He'd murder you.
He'd murder me.
I was
For the
assuming Hannah
tickets.
would want to go with you, but you don't think she would?
I doubt it.
You could take anyone you want.
Yeah, I doubt
You should-
very much that if she would say, like, "Oh, I'll just stay in the hotel." Like,
I'm going
there's
to
no
make the
way.
argument. Don't take Paulie.
Like, Ben won't get mad if you took Bo
Take
or
your
Taylor.
dad.
Or your
obviously.
dad.
My dad's
or
Ben.
Hannah.
He's already
my
been.
dad's
Well, then
Ben.
take me.
Yeah.
But if you took me, it
I
would
took-
infuriate him.
Who would I have a better time with? Who would also want to go back to the hotel and eat snacks and watch iPad in the middle of it? Paulie. He would make me stay there from 4 a.m. until midnight. We would be out there for 3 hours and go, "Hey, you want to just go back to the hotel?" Paulie's like, "Yes, let's go. Go back and watch Step Brothers
You
in the
realize
hotel in Augusta."
outside of the Masters, Augusta, Georgia is not a great place
No,
to be.
that's what I'm saying. Like, me and Paul
You'll be
in
at
our
the
hotel
Econo-
room.
You'll be at the Econo Lodge in really a bad part of town, why wouldn't you want to be at the golf course the entire time?
Because we get tired of walking around all the time and maybe even a little bit bored. Just a touch bored. And I'll be honest, going to a golf tournament is fun. It's like pretty fun. And the best thing, you stand around one hole, like on a par 3, and you gamble with your buddies who's going to, get the best score. That's a really fun thing. When you're on the tee box and your favorite golfer comes up and he hits one, you have no idea where it goes. You literally zero idea where it goes.
So, I'm sure a lot of the tier 1s have been out to the Farmers Insurance Open, which is fun, and I like walking Torrey Pines and going around the course. What's great about the Masters, and I've never been, but part of the tradition of the Masters, the patrons, there are rules that are followed to the tee. And when you arrive at the Masters, you very orderly walk to wherever you'd like to put your chair for the day. And whether
no running, no pushing.
Yeah, no running or pushing. If you want to be on the 18th green or you want to head down to maybe Amen Corner and set up there, you put your chair down and no one touches it all day. You can go wherever you want, and then you return to it.
To your
and
chair.
If you're in the front row, you return right to that chair, and you can sit there for an hour, and then you can go watch other action around the course, and then come
really
back
good.
to your chair at any
really
point
good.
during the day. That is part of the tradition of the Masters, that you don't have to move anything. And then the other tradition is that their concession prices,
They're so good.
for food, are unbelievably cheap.
Pimento cheese sandwich for $1. Yeah.
For like their sandwiches and their chicken salad, their pimento cheese sandwiches, and the different options that they have at the concession stands, all in those green
Now,
Masters wrappers.
The perfect way to go is if I got 2 tickets in the lottery. But once I assign it to the other person, I can't take Ben one day and Paul the next. Right?
I think so. It's pretty.
They're pretty stringent on
What
it.
about if you win, your dad and me, and you just stay in the hotel?
That okay? That I can do that, and I can watch iPad.
You don't have to come at all.
Will you guys bring
and we'll
me
come
snacks?
back and we'll tell you all about it. We'll bring you snacks and everything.
Knowing my dad will absolutely smuggle cheap food out of the Masters, wrapped up in his pocket. Here, I got you a pimento cheese sandwich.
He'd still bring his own snacks, even though it's super cheap already.
No, I think they're actually cheaper inside the Masters than they are outside.
Cheaper inside than he can find them even at the hotel.
Like a gas station
It's
or
actually
something on the way
cheaper
in.
than the gas station, the Masters snacks. So
But
you actually have to save up and eat all your meals there.
I was blown away. And I go, you really did that for me? She goes, yeah, I've been doing it like the last 5 years. And I go, oh, well, you can stop because it's never going to happen. I mean, literally, people have been on that list for 50 years.
She might as well get you a lottery ticket every
might
5
as well
years.
just get me
or
like
every year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's impossible to win that thing. I don't even know how many they offer every year, but you got to think about it. Every dill hole golfer in the world,
You never give them up if you've got them and if you're on the list. So, yeah, it's very hard to get Masters tickets. And technically, anyone who gets some kind of black market, if you're caught, you're banned forever.
Done for life.
People do it, but it's very
You said people, once
dicey.
they get them, they don't want to give them up. If you get onto the list,
I think
does
you
it
may
happen
get to
every
keep
year?
them. I think
It
you may get to
recurs?
keep them like season tickets. You get an
Is that
option
right?
to buy them the next
There'd
year
be
as
no
well.
way because they'd never have any.
You never give them up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what there'd be like 2 available every year.
I would have.
Maybe.
I would be forced into taking Ben. It
Now
would be
maybe we
forced.
can get Adam to send us to cover it
No,
as media.
he never will. He never ever will.
But
He
if
likes
he did-
Georgia.
He does.
If you did take me, he'd finally snap. Like
He
he'd probably
would. That
hold a
would
gun
be-
to your head and be
that
like,
would be the
listen.
thing. That would be the thing that got him. I can't believe this. It would be the greatest radio of all time. The big reveal, and at 8:00, I'll let you know who I'm taking. No one
I
would
just got
tune
my
away.
feet up, like not expecting it.
Oh God, please let me win these one time, please.
All right, we'll come back. Final segment.
Like he'd quit. He would quit.
He
Ben and
would.
Woods.
That
It would be the end of Ben and
the show.
Woods.
It would.
If you can believe it, the very last segment of Ben and Woods before the baseball season. And then it gets started. The next time we'll be on the air will be after the Padres are either 1-0.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my
0-1.
God! Oh my God! Oh
We'll
my
have
God!
a Padres wrap up. Paulie created new opens for everything. It's been a long off season, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Not a great one at times, but I think we're finishing on a strong note here as we wrap things up next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Ooh, tickets. You want me? A little bad hosting by me. I forgot to offer up the Jim Norton comedy tickets in our last segment, as I said I was going to, so we'll do so right now. Jim Norton coming to the Belly Up on July 25th. Tickets are on sale now at ticketweb.com, or be the second caller, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Paulie will take your call, get your information as we head into our final segment. I'll give him a couple of minutes to do that, but before the end of the show, you actually got another voicemail that we're going to play from a couple of days ago from our Scottish friend. Stuart, our Padres fan in Scotland, has some thoughts before the start of the season.
McAllister Stewart, I believe is his name.
From the House of Stewart.
The House of Stewart.
Yeah. It's a big, long line going back centuries, I believe, in Scotland and Great Britain. So we'll have that for you here in a couple of minutes. We don't forget, we've got our pregame show at 2 a.m. this morning with Sam Levitt. That's still sounds weird to say.
That's when my alarm will be going off.
Who's running the board? Is it Italian Paul?
I think
tonight?
Frank is running the board for the game, and then Adam is going to be down there during the game, and then he's going to head back here and run the board for us.
Pulling like an all-night bender. And then coming in to run the board.
That'll sound terrific tomorrow.
It's going to be great.
So, Italian Paul on the board, Sammy Levitt pregame show at 2 a.m., and then Jesse and Tony Gwynn Jr. will have the call at 3:07 a.m. from Seoul, South Korea for the first game of the season. Then Sammy's postgame show. Then we'll be on afterwards. I know a lot of Padres fans were asking, and even Paulie didn't know this during the break. He said, so the game's on ESPN. What do Don and Mud do during the game? No, they're calling the game on Padres TV as well. So I believe it should be available both ways, or at least at the very, you should be able to get it streaming. I don't know that it's going to be on any of the cable satellite options yet. The Padres still have not announced, despite their intentions of making the games available where you saw them last year, whether you had Cox Cable or Spectrum or DirecTV, Fubo TV. They said they're making the plans to have them available. I have not heard an official announcement on broadcast locations for Padres games. So at this point, I know Padres.tv will have them, and ESPN will also have the games for a national perspective. But I would imagine most Padres fans like to get Don and Mud if they can.
Yeah, I mean, if that's an option tomorrow
and
at
hopefully
7
we can have
Casino.
the Jesse and Tony audio would be great at the viewing party, but we'll have to make sure it matches up with whatever pictures we're getting in order not to confuse people.
I'm already confused, and it feels like there's a lot going on.
I agree. So they're going to be calling the game. We'll figure it out going tonight early to make sure we've got the tech all set up for the 3 a.m. viewing party when we'll see you out there at 7 Mile Casino. And again, when you get there, it'll obviously be dark, but make your way inside. You'll head to the left where the restaurant is and walk through the restaurant. The patio is on the back left corner of 7 Mile Casino. Big, spacious patio. There'll probably be some commotion and activity. Look for, Ben and Woods and Paul and Adam and all of us, and probably some signage and televisions and stuff.
You going to wear your 97.3 The Fan
polo? Yeah, I have it all ready to go.
You are wearing it.
I am planning to wear it, yes.
Of course you are.
It's a station event. I promised Michael that I would be the one who wore it, so you guys don't have to.
Thank you.
Taking one for the team.
I guess I will take you to the Masters.
Thank
now.
you.
Thank you.
But
no.
That's the plan, as it were. And we'll get our voicemail up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a few problems wrapping up our morning drive. One of them is some debris in the right lane on northbound 125 right before Hamishaw. Also traveling on eastbound King Freeway at the southbound 125 connector ramp. We have reports of a stalled vehicle over the right shoulder. On the westbound 8 just before the 15, collision involving a couple cars there over the right shoulder. And on the Coronado Bridge heading off the island just before the 5, accident involving about 5 vehicles. Tow truck is rolling up to help out. That's with the left lane blocked, so do expect some congestion on the bridge heading off the island. That, again, is just before the 5. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, lads, that's Hamish McAllister Stewart ringing you up. The season is upon us, lads. It starts with the 3 a.m. Korean start time. Dead convenient for us. Thank you, MLB. I know you're doing the watch party for the 7 Mile Casino. What a fiesta that is going to be. Lads, make sure you phone ahead and have them put the cones out with the parking with your names on it. You don't want to lose your parking spot. It's such a busy time down there. What did they say? Viva la Chula Vista, right? I know the poker players down there are just going to be thrilled when their Pie-Gow game is interrupted by 30 hooting and hollering sports fans shouting things like, do the show, bitch. Aye. They're a short order cook there. Imagine that, just sitting there on your normal, mellow overnight shift. Then a computer spits out 40 orders for hamburgers and chilaquiles. But we know that Ben and Woods listeners are generous tippers and good folk, so it will be quite a positive experience for all parties involved there. Of course, then you have to go do a 4-hour show. And then you've got the Padres roundtable, probably. That's 1 more hour for you and 1 less hour for Craig and Annie. That's dead fair, I'm sure. And then you've got 2 hours of meetings with Adam. And then you go home to your families, and they're dead understanding. You've had such a long, tiring day, they'll say. Oh, you put your feet up, honey. Take the rest of the day off. But lads, I won't be able to join you. I'm going out the night before to watch Dune 2. That's right. I'm going to watch Dune 2. I'm going Dune Toon to watch Dune 2. I like the big hairy worms they have on that show. So, Dune Toon to watch Dune 2. Anybody want to watch Dune 2 with me? Come Dune Toon and we'll watch Dune 2. Lads, ever since I lost my coach show, I haven't had anyone to phone, so I appreciate you letting me phone you up. I can settle for that, and that's fine. So I'll let you go, lads. I know you've got loads going on. I'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.
Oh, just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I had not considered that amazing point that whoever works the kitchen overnight at 7 Mile.
I hope they considered it.
I do hope they consider it, because they're probably like, you get an order or two every hour with the late night players customers, and all of a sudden they are inundated with 40 orders at 3 a.m. at the beginning of the game.
Spitting out tickets, hamburgers and chilaquiles.
Just one guy.
I got 14 Kung Paos. 14 Kung Paos have just come through.
Heard, chef. This is going to be the wildest overnight shift they have ever had.
Oh, my
7
God,
Mile
man.
Casino.
Oh, my God.
Oh, be patient with the short order cook possibly tonight. Get your order in early, perhaps, if you want to eat before like the 5th or 6th inning.
So good. So I guess I didn't really think about that either.
I really hope that they did. Like, they have to have some extra help.
I mean, we've had this plan for a week or two, so, there's warnings. But we're not entirely sure what the turnout's going to be like. There's not a lot of comparison to make for a 3 a.m. radio appearance. This is new.
That is the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. It's basically living on the edge when you do a 3 a.m. watch party. And again, yes, thank you, Major League Baseball, for making it so convenient for all of us here on the West Coast. I saw somebody tweeting last night. It was like, everything gets started about 6 a.m. out here in New York. I'm like, 6 a.m.
ESPN,
I mean, it's early, but it's doable.
6 a.m. start. They're talking about it last night on ESPN.
Piece of cake.
Wake up with baseball. This is awesome. And they don't even mention it's 2 West Coast teams.
Right.
It's 3 a.m. for all of their fans.
You want to do Mets Phillies next year? Fine by me, dude. But 2 West Coast teams. It is. And what time is it? What time is the game happening in Korea? At like 8 p.m.
7 a.m. 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Okay. Just a normal 7 o'clock start.
Now, couldn't have done a 1:05.
It's a weeknight. And as you saw, like in the Padres, the day exhibition game was not nearly as well attended, so I think they want to sell out at night.
My counter argument is, again, both fan bases of the teams, it's going to be in the middle of the night. And if they were to make it an afternoon game, I understand that it's a weekday, but how many people, what'd you say the population of Seoul is? There's only 18,000 seats or something like that at this arena that we're really catering it to.
That's also good point, that you could probably find 18,000 people who could just take the day off and go to the game.
And then everybody else watch it on TV.
And then we could have it at like 9 p.m., which not necessarily better for you. if the game was at 9 p.m.
Not me. I'd be asleep.
I need my
So,
worst for
that's
Woods.
your other option.
It would
If
be.
they
This
made
is
it
way better.
If they
I'm
had
up
made
at
it a
2
day
a lot.
game, it would have been a 9 p.m. start.
Yeah, I mean,
and you would have had to stay up until midnight or later watching the game.
One day a week, I get up at about 1 in the morning anyway. So I'm hoping tomorrow is that day where I spring out of bed. I feel like I will. It's baseball season starting. The games count. I already put my money on a team for tomorrow. I did. And I rolled with the Pods, man. I did. I took the. It's plus 175 for the Padres to win, and I like those odds. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Darvish, he looked solid the last couple of outings, and Glasnow's going to be tough. Again, it'll probably be decided in the bullpens, though. With a start this early, I can't imagine either starter going beyond 5 innings or so is probably the max for either of them, unless they're incredibly efficient. You've got to expect now. I think Michael King's more lined up to pitch tomorrow in relief of Joe Musgrove, just because he's been pitching the same day as Joe. Doesn't mean he couldn't pitch for Darvish tonight and come in relief. I'm sure the situation will dictate some of that for Mike Schilt, but he'll have plenty of bullpen options available. Pretty much everybody who makes the roster, and that roster will be officially submitted to Major League Baseball at
10 p.m.
10 p.m. tonight our time. That they need to get the official 26-man roster of the 31 that they took with them to South Korea. They'll have to pare that down by 5 more to go with for the games today and tomorrow to start the season. So that news will come down at 10 o'clock tonight. And we pretty much have an idea. I think the last decisions are Graham Pauley, Tyler Wade, Eggy Rosario, who's going to be the last infielder and the starting third baseman for the Padres. Everything else, they only brought 4 outfielders, so Azokar,
those guys are all
Profar
on there.
and Merrill and Tatis are all going to be on the roster almost certainly, and then maybe one pitching decision at the back end versus like a Kolek, Rule 5 guy if he makes it on, and I would think he will. They brought him for a reason. Not just so they could offer him back to the Mariners, halfway through the trip to Korea. So I think there's a good chance he does make the roster. Then who gets sent down? Can they send Woo-Suk-Go down or not? To get some work in the minors before he makes his debut. Those will be the last kind of decisions I think we're going to see from A.J. Preller tonight.
Any pressure to get Woo-Suk-Go in the game?
Oh, well, if he's not on the roster, there will be no pressure at all.
0 whatsoever.
If he is on the roster,
the answer is
probably
a hard yes.
a little bit of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
He did pitch in one of the exhibition games, gave up 2 runs in the 9th inning,
Very
2-run
cool.
homer.
Yeah.
But, I think the closer we get to it, the reason that the Padres are here is Ha-Seong Kim. And we've seen the spectacular reaction and how great of an experience it's been for him and the Korean fans. Hitting 2 home runs in one of the exhibition games. This worked out very well for Major League Baseball. Could have been a little dicey with Kim, in trade discussions with A.J. Preller during the offseason, knowing he's going into free agency at the end of this year. It has worked out very well for Major League Baseball to have Ha-Seong Kim be the star for these games, to have now Ohtani and Yamamoto and Darvish also there from Japan, which is pretty close, and I'm sure there'll be some Japanese fans who are at the game as well that have made their way over. So ultimately, that's why they chose the West Coast teams, I think, Woods, and not the East Coast teams, despite the inconvenient time start for all of us.
Well, we're going to make lemonade out of lemons, buddy. We're going to have a great time. See you guys at 7 Mile Casino.
See you in
It's
just a
7
few
minutes
hours
from downtown.
Yeah. See you there. For our executive producer and imaging director, Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. We'll be back on the air after Sammy's post-game show tomorrow morning around 7 a.m. here on 97.3 The Fan. Go Padres. See you later.